interested in getting some coke, he's the guy you know to ask.
Yeah, man, he that line guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At last.
The king's back and the throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, I'm back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do, I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. And just representing for the Gray Pill Podcast. Last week, I took a mental break because life is more better than jumping on the internet and dealing with a lot of YouTube shenanigans. So appreciate everybody for having the patience and come back on here. We're going to have a great conversation. We're going to be discussing about social media influences, how the negative influence the young and the youth, and all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and get a shout out real quick to everybody coming on it through. Appreciate you, brother John. He said hit the like on the way in the fam. All right, appreciate you, man. All right, cool. I don't know the first emoji, but I got the second one. Appreciate you, good sir. Don Teasy, appreciate you. Angela, appreciate you for coming through. I know it's like got the family hubby time, so I appreciate you taking the time out and hitting the chat. You know, I hope you stay in just a little bit for the conversation. If you want to add in your two bits. Angry Ginger, one of our political conversationalists and everything else. Also, I want to give him a special thank you for giving me some great notes from last time. I didn't use all of it, but just understand the basics when it comes to debates and tactics. So I'm going to be implementing a lot of that for the Gray Pill Podcast. You know, just start off the baby steps. The people I feel 100% sure I can either have a good discussion with or just guarantee just win. I guess. I don't know. We'll see. What else do we have up in here? That's pretty much it. So let me get this out the way.
For those that's listening out there in the YouTube universe, shout out to Great Pill Podcast. Go holler at him. Hell yeah. Give him a like and subscribe. Go view his channel if you will.
大家好，你们现在听那个 TheGreyPillPodcast Podcast， 每个星期二还有没有星期日，你可以过来听那个
For all your Spanish watchers and viewers, Telemundo, Univision, Galavisión. Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches, damas y caballeros. Por favor, suscriben, gusten y por favor compartir este canal de YouTube. Cualquier parte del mundo donde están ahorita, por favor. Familia, amigos, o socios de trabajo, lo que sea, por todo el mundo, por favor, suscriben al canal del Grey Pill Podcast, el Pastilla Gris, por favor. Muchas gracias.
All right, with that being said, let me bring everybody up in the forefront. So we have, like always, Classic Ruby, my host with the most. She blows one out.
Listen, there's no nicotine, there's no weed, nothing, okay? It's just... It's not that bad, I swear.
Get all her clarifications out. I appreciate you. Timing is everything. I love it.
Right? It is. I tried to push it out fast. I'm like, oh, great. Like, okay, with that being said, oh no, there's not enough time. I knew there wasn't enough time, but I tried anyway and I failed. So what's up,
what if you would have choked in 4K? Like, how would that work out? All right. Well, your hubby right there. So he better catch you.
Mm-hmm.
And Angry Ginger, appreciate you, good sir, for coming on through.
I'm just trying to be like
I don't know. I gotta lie. I thought it was me on level one with the stoicism, and then when Dan came to pick, I was like, Jesus Christ! Like he outstoics, just outdo it. Hey man, real quick, because I never had the opportunity and just the pleasure of you just introducing your channel and let us know what your channel about. So, because your niche is totally different from the Great Pill Podcast, even though we touch based on a little bit of what you do. So, if you don't mind, good sir, just let us know about your channel and what you do, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I do political content, react content over on Angry Ginger Productions. We kind of do live streams on Wednesdays at 6, same time as everybody else. So don't come watch my show. Go watch Angela's show. Go watch Grey Pill's show. But yeah, we do a lot of like political content. We like to take a look at all the crazy Trump stuff going on nowadays, and we also react to other stuff as well, and like to hang out, have a good time, and enjoy some positivity. So I'm all about positive vibes, having a good time, and doing the things that make you happy.
All right, good stuff. Appreciate that. And speaking of stuff that make you happy, we're gonna bring in Wes. What's going on, Wes? Appreciate you, good sir.
Good evening. Happy to be here as always.
All right. I don't think we have any plugs or lack thereof with California, but we'll see how that works out toward the day, sir. We'll see how that works out toward the day. And Dame,
what's happening, y'all?
How you doing, man? I've been hearing in the spaces that you're a very popular individual, more than myself on on tonight. Is that somebody trying to call me? Was that you?
That's not me.
Oh, that's actually me. I'm sorry. If anybody actually watching, Kings, I don't know if you're watching through the spaces. I am doing a show live, sir. Like, Discord is on my computer, just blew up. Yeah, shout out to Angela. She said, yes, thanks, Great Pill. I'm here for a bit. Okay, cool. Good stuff.
Can I just mention to you, because I had one hell of a time trying to get into the chat, and it's because YouTube is blocking this, just so you know. Like, I got a message saying this might be inappropriate content for some viewers. Do you want to continue? Like, it was like, I've never even seen that message before.
Maybe because I put it, I actually put an age restriction for 18 and over, so I don't know why it would do that.
And it only says one person's watching. So even though when I got into the chat, it said more people are watching, on the outside, it just says one person's watching. Like, almost like they're trying to dissuade everybody from viewing it at all. You cannot set things as being 18 or over unless you don't want anyone to know you're streaming, because it will just block the hell out of it.
Learn something every day. Learn something every day. Well, while we have the conversations, I'll go back and see if I can play around a little bit to adjust that. I got a lot of Discord to come through me. The Discord phone call threw me off a bit. So yeah, let me share this real quick, get straight into it. I actually have like a side bet with somebody, Will Lock Nation, which is kind of funny because I'm not a gambler, but if I'm sure of a good thing, I pretty much just say, let's see what happens. You know, I don't mind. I'm not gonna say the dollar amount, or maybe I will. I don't know. But I remember this kind of has me like a reminder. If anybody remember the Juicy Smollett story situation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So a long time ago, we was covering me, Primo, and Pop was covering the Juicy Smollett. And then I said, it might be funny if he just gets out free in a couple of days. And somehow we made like a friendly bet between all three of us. And next thing you know, like day 2, day 3, I see him on the news just walking on the back door and going straight to his vehicle. And my surprise, like, oh snap, I won. So ended up doing a stream, had everybody on, and yeah, I earned me $5 that day. It went straight to StreamYard. So it was a good night that night. So I was on another person's platform. I'm gonna call them Lock, but they, you know, we joke around, inside joke. We call them Scent Nation over there. You know, I call them the Blue Pill. But very extreme conversation about what's his name, Dr. Umar Johnson, and the conversation where him and a guy got into argument saying, "Hey, Dr. Umar Johnson is not going to build that school," and then somehow it came to a whole bed, and the conversation was going heated. So I engaged and I said, "Hey, what day do you want to plan on the school being built?" And he put a date to it. We kind of confirmed it between him and the guy. Cause I'm like, yo, y'all just arguing. Like, let's get it black and white. Let's see where this goes. So he set a date, January the 1st. Then the guy said something a little bit very disrespectful. Somehow I went left again. So now the bet didn't go. I said, well, let me see if I can put myself in this. Hey, you want to put $100 on it, for January the 1st? I don't mind. And he said, sure. So we got till January the 1st to see if, by his grace, Dr. Umar Johnson, build that school January the 1st. But which is funny. I like when I say stuff, I just like forget about it. My brain's like an S kid, bro. I draw it up real nice. Next day I shake it up, I'm on to a new one. So I totally forgot about it, right? But I'm like, okay, if January 1st hit, that'd probably be my first thought. Like, yo, where's the money, the bottles or parties? $100. Okay, everything adds up. So I get like a random message and a comment on his end. It was like, hey, it just seemed like it just deflected to what the point was. So we will see January the 1st. So now he want to change up the dates. And I like, no, let's keep it January 1st. Let's keep it honest. If win or lose, matter of fact, it's a double win for him. If he wins the bet, he get $100. Plus he proved that he was right. The person he supports, build a school. That's a win, right? Then he could use the $100 and donate it to Dr. Umar. If I win the bet, it would go to the Grey Pill Podcast with a StreamYards and this, that, third. I even got a buddy who actually liked to drink. I might give him the 50 and just say, hey, you've been a good brother to me. There you go, sir. And this is his birthday. So there you go. It's a win-win. So I think his might be more selfless. Mine would be half selfish. But I am low-key petty, so I want my $100. Wow. Shout out to you. Cold Truth. Cold Truth is also a friend of the panel. I don't know if you're still out on your venture. She's on a CrimeCon. I didn't know that was a whole thing. Cold Truth, aka Mel. Mel is what we call her. She was on a crime con, which is a whole thing. I didn't know that. Great conversation. She was strolling all over the place, showing everything. I was definitely invested in that. Before that, I guess a friend or someone she knew, she was doing like some kind of donations to help out the family members because somebody had passed away. So very good-hearted, very good spirited person, very southern. So you hear the draw from time to time. Cold Truth, if you're home, or wherever you're comfortable, you're more than welcome to join in the conversation. We're going to talk about, and this is pretty much up your alley a little bit too, Cold Truth. We're going to talk about how big toxic media influences the youth and how that derails and changes stuff in a lifetime. Because I know last time we had Wes on, we was talking about internet bullying, the use of internet, what you do and don't do. We had a lot of solutions for that. Okay, you just got home, get settled. I'll drop you a link if you feel comfortable coming on. If not, that's perfectly fine. And what's that? Dame is the Dame play. Okay, I don't know. You know what? I need to come back over there and claim my spot. I need to come back on there and claim my spot.
You lost it, bro. You ain't getting it back now, dude. Damn. That's Dame's spot now.
I need to claim my spot.
I'm the captain now.
Damn right.
I need to be the alpha over there.
They finally know how to say his name right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know why, Dan? Because I kept pushing it, brother. I
appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Oh man! All right, let me. This link is. I'm dropping a link for Mel for Cold Truth. This link is for you, Mel. Link is only for Cold Truth. Only for Cold Truth. Yeah, I gotta. I gotta fight. I gotta fight for my number one spot, man. Because gotta fight for it. But we'll see what happens next time. That might see what happens. All right, so if anybody know anything about SNEAKO's a young kid from that was in New York, been an influencer, having conversations, doing questions. You know what them street people do in New York. If you ever never been to New York, I advise you go visit at least one time. Visit New York, one good time just to visit. But something happened here where his influence got so big where he got banned off of and people can correct with this one. He got banned off of YouTube. He left from YouTube. He got more popular influence on Rumble. Then from there, everywhere from what I've seen, his direction of niches changed. He was the streetwalker in New York that I knew of him as. That's how I still like to remember him. Then he went on this Manosphere Red Pill grift, and it just went weird for me. So I'm like, I don't know who you are, SNEAKO. And he was throwing like a lot of conversations about him as girl, what is him as girl do, him being a quote unquote cuck, all this other stuff. And then now his influence became so big to now a child actually recognized him, in the media, which is kind of odd to me. So I wanted to share this real quick. And then we can have that conversation. Then we can do a little bit of breakdown and explanation on another content creator. He felt like, based on everything he saw of SNEAKO, he identified him as a groomer. And we can see where we go with that one. So let me share this real quick. And Mel, again, the link is for you, darling. The link is for you, darling. Hey, lady. Appreciate you. Okay, cool. Let me pull that up.
I mean, right away, this kid's a Miami U fan, so he's going to be trouble.
It's sus.
That's where all the criminals come from. I'm pretty sure Aaron Hernandez went to Miami U, didn't he?
What? No, wait. We love women. We love women.
But not like transgenders.
Yes, sir. We love everybody. No.
I'll get you back. Yeah, man. Preach.
What have I done?
Can I get in the video? Fucking talk. Can I get in the video?
Yeah.
You like. All right. So, what's our thoughts on that so far?
Wow, them kids need some parents. So they need some goddamn parents in their life.
Yeah.
So he's surprised that these kids know who he is, apparently.
Yeah, and surprised of there was actually regurgitating a lot of his talking points or loud, his loud verbal stuff he was saying.
See, I think that people. I mean, first of all, the way that we blame, like, I don't know, the content creators of today for the way that they're influential and whatever, like, it's almost like we forget that just generally kids around that age, which it's a very influential time, like the tweens and teens, right? But kids around that age try intentionally to latch on to, like, the greater culture, greater media influences. And so even before we had the internet, we had music stars and movie stars and movies and magazines and whatever, right? And people would latch on to oftentimes the most negative of those messages anyway, right? So, like, generally it's a common thing. It's just now we have another arena of that to add to the mix, which is, the social media star. So, I don't even think SNEAKO's really surprised. I think that it's more like that's just part of the game. You've got, I'm so surprised.
Yeah,
fake humility, but like the fact that he has the influence, I think he knows. That's why he repeats, you're a bot. He's trying to be catchy. He's trying to be that kind of influential, just like Andrew Tate is trying to be that kind of influential. You want everyone repeating everything you're saying, and you don't care how young those people are. Cardi B certainly didn't, right? That's why she was sitting there having sex on stream with all of her 11 to 14-year-old viewers watching her, right? Because they don't care. That's their meal ticket. That's their way. So,
jeez, I didn't know that.
Okay, that was on a stream, or there was a video. Is that a video still up, or
a concert?
Wanted to know.
Yeah, that's a for friend.
I gotta keep my kids away from that. No, but you're right. I mean, to be honest with you, like, first of all, when he's doing that whole like, oh my god, really? Like, he knows that shit. That's all an act. It's all the whole like, like, oh, I had no idea, like these people did. But he's doing it in a way that he's also trying to be funny because that appeals to his audience. Him being like acting like a fool is kind of like appealing to the type of people that are gonna watch his content. So I mean, I go back to my original content and what Ruby said as well. Like, I mean, back in the day when I was a kid, it was Charles Barkley, right? Like, Barkley had written that book, like, I'm nobody's role model. He said that shit on said that stuff on an interview. Like, not everybody's going to be the Michael Jordan of the world or whatever. Charles is like, I'm not going to be that person, so don't look up to me, kind of stuff. But people are always going to. Madonna was very risque during her time. But now that we have the internet and it's so much more accessible, I mean, back when we were kids, it's like if you caught it on TV or you saw it in the news, that was kind of big stuff. But whenever you have the internet and you have these kids that are on the internet all day, every day, like, I mean, people like SNEAKO, if you're not restricting access to people like that for your 10, your 12-year-old, then you're messing up as a parent, in my opinion. Like, I'm not letting my kid watch SNEAKO. I'm not letting my 10-year-old, 12-year-old watch Andrew Tate. That's just insane to me. If that's what these kids are watching, I think somebody needs to talk to their parents.
I agree.
Gravitate to what they view as cool. SNEAKO's cool. I mean, he's a good-looking
Mhm.
guy who's around a lot of hot chicks. He's in Miami. He seems to have been able to bounce back after being banned off YouTube even better than before. It's like, because I didn't know it was banned. It wasn't until after I was like, whoa, this guy's been banned on something, but I see him everywhere. You know, it's just one of those things where he seems to be untouchable. And kids are all about that. It's like he comes off as aspirational, as, hey, I want to be able to just say what the hell I want and still be popular, make money, and get chicks. So it's going to be hard for parents to kind of fight against that, especially when kids get a certain age, because realistically, your parents raise you to a certain age, and then it's the society that takes over when you're like 14 or 15, and he's represents the degeneracy of society, but he looks good doing it.
Yeah, especially with media, because let's say he can be going for like, because you said you see him everywhere. For me, he was going for a hot minute, like say maybe months, and then he just sprung up from Rumble, and then it went from there. But he was network on everybody else's platform that was YouTube. So for the untrained eye, it's like, okay, he never left. So
He never left. I think he just missed where he was, but he never left. He was always on Fresh and Fit at that time. Like, he got banned because of what he did. For people who don't know, he didn't like Chad. This is a woman that does content, a young lady who does content, really. And he didn't like, her commentary about him. And so he decided to meme or mimic, basically, sexual force against her, and being like, yeah, that's all she needs. She needs someone to take it from her, and be like, yeah, there, chat. Like, he was doing stuff like that. It was pretty aggressive, and it was pretty stupid of him to do, and then for him to keep doubling down on. So all of the big content creators in the Chad space, the leftist kind of, they all started doing videos saying ban SNEAKO, because why is this okay? And why is he not? Why did that not get struck down? Why is it okay to perpetuate that kind of message against women just because you don't like what they had to say? And so really, it was only a matter of time. And the thing is that the kinds of things SNEAKO did, that's why Abba and Preach spoke out against it, spoke to him directly, and tried to tell him, like, dude, you have a good message. You're kind of out there. It's good, though, whatever, but you got to pull back on some of this stuff, or you're going to get banned, because no one's going to put up with that. You're endangering the platform. And so when he got banned, almost immediately, he was at Fresh and Fit, like, every day, and then he was on, like, guesting on everyone else's platforms, like, constantly. And he was always on, like, Rumble, Kick, all these other, like, alternate streaming services. He was always in those places. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure. Maybe just, it depends on, like, kind of what you watch or who you watch or whatever. But yeah, no, SNEAKO never disappeared.
Everybody wants to rally around the martyr. So everybody thought he was like the martyr, kind of like being sacrificed to the altar of wokeism or PCism. That's what people were saying. They were saying, we want to fight against that. And he's one of the people who we can see who's been directly affected by the woke or PC community or what have you. I didn't even know it was that. I thought, I did some research before I jumped on, before I knew we were going on this on tonight, and I thought it was because of his COVID stuff. I thought he was doing a lot of anti-COVID shit, and then that got a bang.
Yeah, which that was a lie too, because it come to find out he actually took the jab, since he was so against it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
like the entire right, like all those people, Tucker Carlson, all those people took the jab while they were spreading the propaganda against it and told everyone not to take it. Now, I didn't, to be fair. I have completely different issues with it, but like, it's just the fact that all of these right-wing people, activists, the extremists, they're all full of it. All of them, SNEAKO included, right? Because he's a lost boy. Like, I think we look at him and give him almost like the respect of, like, I don't know, someone who's like over 30, self-actualized, well-established, just a person, you know, who knows himself. Like, he doesn't. He is a lost boy, desperate to be a man, desperate to find himself, desperate to self-actualize, desperate to have some type of respect, self-respect, respect from others in society. And he has no idea how to attain that, right? Which is why he keeps latching on to anything around him that seems just a slightly more powerful or respected than he is, right? And he just has to keep latching, desperate. He was desperate to be an Abba and preach, right? And then as soon as they held him accountable, what did he do? Fresh and fit, right? He's just going to latch on to whatever, right? Latch on to Fresh and Fit, but Rolo doesn't approve of him or criticize him about something, so that's it. He's going to be anti-Rolo. Like, he just does that, right? He was best friends with Mr. Beast, right? Mr. Beast holds him accountable. What does he do? He goes on a whole entire tangent against Mr. Beast to try to take down Mr. Beast. Now, he pulled down that video almost immediately because he realized it was career suicide. But the point is, he has a habit. Like, he just does the same thing over and over and over again because he's a lost, hurt boy who has no idea how to be a man, but is desperate to be one. Like, it's very
great.
Yeah, and if you see those kids, reacting to him in that way, I'm sure that that's in some way a fulfillment for that. Like, he's seeing that his actions as a whole are actually having an impact on young people, which is probably in some way a fulfillment of who he was when he was young and what he wanted. So just to clarify what I'm saying about parents, I hear what Dame's saying, that like at one point or another, you don't get to raise your kids, you know, past a certain age. They're going to make their own decisions. They're going to pick their own, you know, their own idols and all that stuff. But even like with my kids, I try to keep like a real open communication with my kids. I tell my kids about everything. I tell my kids about drugs. I tell them about whatever. So that way they know that I'm the person that's always going to have the information. I'm always going to be the person to come to and talk about stuff. So when I see my kids, if those are my kids on that, we would definitely have a long conversation about how we act in public, how we treat people, the type of respect that we have for women, the type of respect that we have for everybody, regardless of gender and sexuality. Like, you know, my kids know, my son all silent goes, is this gonna be a 30-minute conversation? You know, like, that's his punishment. His punishment is not my ass is gonna talk to him for a long ass time. So, you know, like, but my kids have like a really healthy respect for me and
smack me around a little bit.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Get it over with.
And so you know, for me, I think that in that position, if I'm the parent, I'm gonna have a conversation that's gonna be like, I talk to my kids like they're grown, you know, like I tell them, I'm like, I respect you. You should respect me. My son starts getting a little loud in a conversation. I go, am I yelling at you or am I treating you with respect right now? And generally he's like, okay, you treat me with respect. I'm like, so how do we talk to each other right now? You talk to me normally. I talk to you normally. Because what happens if I get loud, then we don't solve anything. Right. So I think that, you know, too much nowadays, people are letting kids like SNEAKO parent their children on the internet because they don't want to have to deal with them. So I think that all parents, myself included, could do better at communicating with your children and making sure that they don't get caught on video saying stuff like that, because the internet is forever.
Yes.
So SNEAKO has never been relevant to me because I'm a grown man and I do grown man stuff. But I pay attention to what my children are doing. I make sure that I got the, you know, apps on their phone to lock a lot of content. I know what they're downloading. I know what they're doing, so I can peruse that. You know, prior to, it's not just the internet. Before, because even when the internet first became a normal thing in households, it was still limited. We've now moved to the unlimited data age, and that's what made things difficult. And I think a lot of parents, especially the older parents, cannot keep up with it, because remember when we had AOL and you only had like 25 minutes, or it only, you know, you have to get off the computer.
It was 1,000 minutes or 60 hours, something like that.
Man, those CDs, didn't it come with the CDs? Yeah.
I was abusing it. I ain't gonna lie, I was abusing it.
The thing is, there was still the control there, and I think that Ruby's right. Children naturally want to latch on. They naturally want role models. You know, before we had all this entertainment, the role model was always the parents. Or someone within the local community. Now our technology has kind of evolved beyond us socially, and we're trying to figure out how to catch up to that. So, you know, like Angry Bald Ginger was saying about how you got to talk to your kids and keep them up to date and make sure they understand what's going on. You know, but also, you know, we've just moved into the unlimited data age, and now every kid has to have a cell phone in order to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Essentially, I got my kids' cell phones, and I went a long time until I got my kids' cell phones. But eventually, if they're doing band practice and stuff, I need to have contact with them. Everyone in society is expected to be able to contact each other. It's not like you just call the restaurant and say, "Hey, is my party over there yet?" Now that's considered creepy. You're supposed to be like, everyone's supposed to have a cell phone. Like, you can't operate in a normal universe anymore.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Mel, hey lady, what's going on? How was the trip? I ain't gonna lie, you be tripping more than I do. Last time you was in Mexico, now you over here.
Just had a summer. Michigan, Mexico, Denver, Florida.
Okay. Did you have like any little crazy stories? I know you had like one in Mexico. I think it was like some food that you had like disagree with you.
Well, I'm just being stubborn that I'm old and I didn't want to wear my bifocals. So for 2 days I was eating grasshoppers.
Nice.
How was the flavor?
I just chomped on them. They were tasty too.
Okay. That's good.
But then my stomach was super upset. And the waiter was like, it's so great to see, an American liking our delicacies. And we're like, huh, what? Goes the grasshoppers.
That's funny. I watched one guy on YouTube where he was eating the grasshoppers, the beetles, the scorpions. He was just tearing it all up. And I was like, I don't know if I can. I was loving the tacos they had, but I don't know about the bugs. Not the bugs.
But yeah, I think it was it when I was listening right before I came on it, Damien, was that you speaking possibly about your kids and like you being honest with them? And like,
I don't know if it was me or angry.
Huh?
I think it was angry.
But you guys kind of look alike for some reason.
I know, right?
I didn't have
we
you on
the
my
two
screen.
coolest dudes on the show. What can I say?
I totally.
Is it because they're both from California?
It's the beard.
Solid.
Bald head. It's the bald head. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are twins,
right?
It's just a high reflection coming off the top there. It's blocking out your cameras.
Yeah, I raise my kids like that. Like my family is a mess. They're from the holler, So when you go to family get-togethers, it's got all those questions like, why doesn't Uncle Rick have any teeth? And they're like, well, don't smoke crack. I just had to tell them. It's like, don't smoke crack. Why doesn't Aunt Derek have a tongue? I'm like, don't smoke cigarettes. Don't smoke crack.
You're like, oh, well, that one was crack, bad crack. There's definitely some meth over there. I'm not sure what he was doing. Let's not get into that.
Scared because it was like the faces of meth every like Christmas, and this was like we'd have to get all of the things that they would steal and lock them in the car just to go in, and then. I didn't know it until later, like that oxygen tanks were not supposed to be around, that because that was just part of my growing up. My grandma smoked out of her trach with her oxygen tank right there.
Yeah, right here.
I didn't
that voice.
Wow.
It just got to the point where it's like, yeah, I'm really trying this honesty thing with them because, instead of like hiding it, and like telling them, oh, brush your teeth, the sugar bugs will get you. It was like, I want them to have a front row seat to like, this is what drugs do. You can't take your DS in because one of my relatives will steal it. You can't be alone. Like it was just, I have a crazy childhood, but yeah, you guys got to be honest with them to a point, but it seemed to work because they're grown now and they're really good kids.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on? Yeah, it sounds like a really good job. So, what's your thoughts on the whole media influence when it comes to the youth?
That's a tough one because I've definitely seen it. My youngest is 18; she just went off to college, so I saw a lot more with her of just her actually believing TikTok creators over me or like wow. I'm okay by profession, other than this my side job here with the true crime is I do hair, so I feel like I'm pretty educated. I know my stuff, and then all of these TikTokers got real popular with like this product and that product, and she'd be like, Mom, you're wrong, the TikTok person said this. And it's just like, and that's a simple thing, that's not a dangerous thing. But then it became the tracking. I don't know if you kids these days, they like track their boyfriends, and you got to give them their passwords and all that jazz. And I'm listening to her and her friend in the backyard, in the back of the car, and then they're talking about this, about where's your boyfriend at? Well, where's your boyfriend at? And then it was, has he given the password yet? And I finally, I was like, what are you two talking about? And, you know, they like totally were trying to gaslight me that this is normal relationship behavior. And I'm like, where are you getting this? And they're like, online, which is influencers, of just like that this is a normal way to behave inside of a relationship. And I'm like, no, these are all the warning flags of run, you know?
Yeah.
That was the biggest one that like really just, what are we doing?
That's new to me.
And then I found the girl on TikTok that was pushing all of this stuff. To me, that's, you know, I don't know. So yeah,
I thought this was about to be a true crime episode. I was like,
yeah,
you found the girl on TikTok, and then what happened?
You need some education. I don't know if you're ignorant or stupid, but you need some help.
Was the girl young though? The girl that you found, was she young?
No, I mean she wasn't 17. You know, like my children. Yeah. She was, I don't know. She looked to be maybe 26 max.
I was gonna say, because I know some younger couples that do that. Like this girl I was talking to her, and I was like, where's he at? Where's your boyfriend at? Because he's supposed to be coming over to the house. She's like, oh, hold on. Pulls up her phone, and she's like, he's over on this street. And I'm like, damn, you guys know where she's like, yeah, he knows where I am. I know where he is. I'm like, dude, my wife's lucky if I like return the text messages.
Although to be fair, my husband is also lucky if I return text messages.
Like, oh, you were gone? I thought you were in the garage.
Yeah, no, exactly, right? Yeah, exactly.
They were like, Mom, you guys are the ones that don't have a normal relationship. Like, it's like you guys don't even like each other. You never know where he is. He never knows where you are. You just do your own thing. And I'm like, trust it, like we don't.
Yeah, trust is important.
Yeah,
but there is an issue.
I remember Chris Rock had this little bit in his thing where he said that his dad would leave at like 6 a.m. and come home at 8 p.m. and his mom and his dad didn't speak the whole day. He's like, people would lose their mind if it was like how it was back in the day, because that's how it was with my dad. My dad would go off to work and be gone for 12 hours. You know what the fuck he was doing that whole time.
No.
There was no text. You wasn't calling his job. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Right.
Lost your mind. Somebody better be dead. You calling my job. You know,
exactly.
Yeah, see, people have a problem though where because there's cell phones are giving us a false sense of not, and so I actually think that some of what everyone is saying is really problematic, as in your family, you should have open, honest communication. That if you don't have that open, honest communication where you're letting each other know where you're going to be or filling each other in on what your day is going to be like, right? To me, then like you're not trusting anything, because I'm going to give you an update on my day, like where I'm going today, what I'm doing, vice versa. You know, when we get home later on, when we have time, you know, we're going to connect, talk about our days and whatever, right? But the thing is that I am kind of like the last line of defense. If something goes wrong and my husband disappears, or vice versa, something goes wrong and I disappear, knowing, and he can't tell anyone where I've been or what I was doing or what I might have been doing or whatever, like, that's kind of problematic, right? This is why before there were cell phones, we had to communicate with each other. That's why we let people know what our day was going to be filled with, where we were going, a contact number of our workplace in case of anything, right? Like there's more reasons to communicate about these types of things than just I'm trying to stalk him so I know where he is all the time, because I don't trust that he's not going to be with some girl or something, right?
Yeah.
Just like having those location things, like the ability to locate each other's phones is not just to be able to stalk someone, but again, what if something goes wrong?
Yeah,
right.
And the theory behind it, but the practice is not that. The practice is I want to know where you are because I am nosy. I want to know every aspect of your day, or I want to know what you're doing. The theory is sound, like you said. It's just like in case of emergencies, if you want to make sure that people are safe or what have you. That's the premise. That's how they sold
not
it
with
to
your
you.
high school boyfriend.
But that's not.
No,
that's
not with your high school boyfriend. No, but like with my husband, I can locate his phone as vice versa. Actually, both of our phones have both of our everything coming into them. So like our emails or whatever, like go to both phones, because it's just like it's inconvenient if like my phone's upstairs, his phone's downstairs. I want to check something in my email really quick. I have to either go all the way up the stairs or log in. It's stupid, right? But at the same time, I don't check his anything, right? And he doesn't check my anything, because we do have trust and respect for one another. So I would never just violate his privacy, even though he wouldn't see it that way and I wouldn't see it that way. We just don't do that, right? So even though the access is fully there, I can get into his phone, he can get into mine, whatever, right? We don't feel the need to go in there and start stalking each other, because we do trust each other. So
I think
and I know I'm trustworthy, and he knows he's trustworthy.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's a practice. I think it's a practice of behavior of that person. And I'm just like with me and my ex years ago. Like I just have a habit where I'd be in the living room, she'd go to bed before I was. She was just an early person to go to bed, and I'll just be watching TV or game, whatever, and I just leave my phone, leave it plugged, and I just go to bed. And then she wakes up before me. She just had a habit just go in my phone, but I just never knew until like she just brings up a casual conversation and relating connected to that. I'm like, oh, this chick going through my phone. Now it became problematic. So those type of people, when they shows those type of signs for the apps and stuff, it's a no. Like either we're not together, you don't trust me, it's a red flag. So no.
Yeah, and having it open to, like Ruby was just saying there, like the trust of being allowing the other person, like it's one of those weird things I've seen with young people where they ask that, like, would you trust the other person with your phone? I'm like, why wouldn't you? Like, what do you have to hide? If like for me, I don't give a shit if my wife picks up my phone. She can go through it if she wants to, go ahead, scroll, have a good time checking out all those memes. They're great.
Exactly, right?
Like she already knows I think I'm funny, so she's by reading the dumbass jokes I send to people. So and the opposite of that, unfortunately, is what you're seeing with the tracking apps and stuff, is that's the exact opposite behavior that you need to have with your significant other. Because if you're spending that much time following, it's one thing to like that girl that I was talking to, she's kind of like joking, she's like, yeah, I know where he is whenever, but they were in a relationship for a long time. I was just, I didn't know that even existed. I didn't know I could find my phone if I lost it. But she was a little bit more like, oh, it doesn't matter. He knows where I am. I know where he is. I just use it whenever he's not home yet. I want to know what's taking him so long. I've sent him a message. I can see, he's still at the grocery store. Tell him to still pick stuff up, whatever, stuff like that. So that's kind of like a middle ground of those two things. But I think that what you see with young people is this like real worry or concern that something is going on that they're either not part of or that they don't want the other person being a part of. And like Dame was saying, like, that's how my relationship still is with my wife, because I'm not very good at using my phone. So like I go to work, she goes to work, she's a house cleaner, so I do ask her to like let me know where she's going in case she's at somebody's house. I want to know if something, if she gets hurt or something, where to go. But for the most part, when we leave the house in the morning, she might send me a text here or there saying I love you, or hey, pick up some tequila, whatever, but I'm generally, I don't know where she is as far as like in her day, and she knows that I'm at work. And then when we see each other at home, we just trust that each other is doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we're not doing anything we're not supposed to. And it seems like kids or young people have a real hard time with that nowadays.
Yeah, and the South is crazy because like when you were saying all that, I was thinking about my cousins, because his mom and his sister, they are a very talkative family. So if they go somewhere and let's say they're supposed to come back in 5 minutes, the fact is the South, people know everybody. So it's like, hey, they go like 5 minutes away. It's an hour. They come back. They have all these stories. Oh, I saw cousin this. I saw uncle that. The general store manager had a conversation with. So they had all these little adventures coming back. Even somebody I did, heck, even myself. Like, but I'm pretty much like a straight first person come back. I would just find people like a aunt come and talk to me. My quote unquote, my big mama, my great grandmother would just like, I'll see her. So I'm like, oh, I haven't seen her in a minute. So I just stop and just go have a conversation with her. But I never once during that time, like, hey, let me go check on my significant other at that moment, because it was always the thing. Like 15-minute drive, I know she come back in 2 hours. Like it's just guaranteed. Let me just put a 2 hour gap on it because she's gonna have a story. Something gonna happen all the time. So I don't know if it's emergencies. Depending on the situation, if it's emergencies, then yeah.
Well, I track my kids.
Kids, yeah.
See.
Yes,
People
yeah.
have just so much more access to things now than we ever had when we were growing up and stuff. Like, well, I was growing up. It was just like there was no internet. It was like if you now it's just like you're not. A lot of people feel like they're not just competing with the people that they see in front of them. Because I remember if I had a girlfriend and she only had to worry about the girls I saw at school and on my way to and from school. That's it. Now they got everybody in the earth that somebody can be reaching out to their significant other. There's just way more access. So it's just like they feel like they have to be way more controlling and try to dial it down a bit because it's like, wait a minute, it's not just, because like I said, if I got lucky, I saw a cute girl on the bus on the way to school.
Right? Yeah.
It was just everybody at school and my girlfriend was there. So it was like, it wasn't like there was any opportunity for me to do anything really shady. But now it's just like a girl could message you from a city away, and then y'all could meet up and all this kind of stuff. It's just I get why they're doing it, but I just think it's a shame that it has to be done.
It's a lot. It's a lot. All right. So let me this real quick. Spot. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Repeat that. I'm sorry.
How do you guys think that the influence of social media and influencers and all of that affects the interaction between partners in a relationship, like what you were talking about, of like now you got all of these other things to worry about, and it seems like the core of it, just like trust or jealousy and suspicion without an action that has led to that. So now it's just like, oh, there's all of this outside things, and there's so much of it. And then just even outside of a relationship, what do you guys think about the dating, like the apps and just being able to swipe and like always, it seems like we're going into a culture where it's like, oh, there's probably something better, there's probably something better. And everything is just so like, you don't even get that chance to establish anything, to get to know someone, because you read their profile and what says on there, but the human connection is just kind of starting to fade away. I don't know.
Well, that's a good question.
People don't know what people are weirded out by human connection now. They don't know what to do with it or even how to accept it. So the internet ruined dating, and it ruined dating in such a way that you have no choice but to use it. I remember years ago, this is a conversation I had probably 10, 11, maybe even 12 years ago. And, in my office where I worked, there's myself, there was another guy there. I think it was 3 guys in there. There was 2 females. For some reason, somebody asked, like, would it be strange if somebody looked up your number on the white pages, and both of the females stated, "Oh, that's so creepy that someone would find my number in the white pages." And one of the guys that I worked with, he's like, "Yeah, why would you use a phone book when you can just get on the whitepages.com?" Like, and both the females were like, "Yeah, it's just so creepy that someone would call me out of the blue." No, I don't want to talk to that guy. He found my number, the phone book. Like the phone book is such a dirty thing. Mm-hmm. But this modernization of communication and technology, I think a lot of people just don't know how to perceive it. They don't understand it. Have anybody had that weird situation where you're calling an ad on Facebook, like somebody's selling something on Facebook Marketplace, they post their number, or some situation, or somebody's got business cards, they hand out business cards, you call the number on the business card, and this person's like, "Oh, how'd you get my number? What?
You gave it to me."
I mean, have any of you? But I've run into that. Talking to other people with what I do, I'm like, yeah, I got your number off the insurance website, but and what do you do? Who are you? Like, yeah, it's like it's the weirdest thing. Like you post your number publicly in the hopes that someone's going to call it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But some people today don't understand this
because that's not what it is. You can see the difference between Generation Z and let's say older millennials, right? And then obviously
I'm talking people my age having problems getting a random phone call from a card that they put out.
Yeah, but here's the thing, because okay, so if you are a
More specifically, females having an issue.
If you are a young millennial or younger,
this.
you don't call people. You don't call anyone except for really old people in your family.
Yeah.
You don't use phone numbers to call people, maybe to text, right? But
They're
when
like
you
scared
have
of
a
it.
phone number, you're using that to find their email address, their website, anything online based, their Facebook, anything. Right?
Yeah,
You don't
you're right.
call people, right? Just like, I mean, honestly, people don't even call people that are when you're dating. You contact people through social media, right? So it's a different world now. So it's weird when someone tries to exchange phone numbers. Like Grey Pill and I had this discussion where there's someone, I'm not gonna like name names, but there's someone I was like, oh my God, I love this person so much. I super want to like talk to them, you know, get their contact information to me. And he gave me like a phone number. I'm like, I don't call people. And I don't want to give this person my phone number. It feels so weird. I'm not giving you my phone number. I've had the same phone number for 20 years. What if you end up being some type of psycho and I have to change my phone number after 20? I'm not giving you my phone number, but I'd give you my Facebook. I would give you my any other type of contact because it feels different, right? And so you can tell people who were like raised on phone numbers, right? And like the internet was like kind of like a side thing, like maybe you could have a website maybe to give some information, but it's not really important. And people who think that the internet is life and like a phone number is only in case of emergencies, right? So that's what it's just a perception thing and it's different. And so when I hear people say like, oh, the internet ruined this or ruined that, it didn't. It dramatically changed the perceptions of things and of the way that we interact in the world. The problem is actually the fact that these older generations, so Gen Xers and older, panicked and thought that social media, the internet's ruining everything. And what they did was they actually started instituting rules in schools as young as kindergarten age that actually destroyed human interaction and social development the way that it used to be and the way that we used to develop these things, because they were panicking, because they did not understand that, no, this is kids adapting the way that they should, and that's normal. So they started trying to break things up and whatever, which actually hurt our ability to socially interact and also to value in-person social interaction. So it actually really has to do with the thing that ruined things is our reaction to social media and not social media itself.
I have to agree that because I was at work and somebody because my name was on the board, like, hey, I'm on duty or something like that. And some shit just kept coming over and she actually found me through Facebook because of the name. And that's how she was reaching out to me. But I'm like, when she did the first, I'm like, I see you all the time. You just approach me. And that was her way of trying to like her in, I guess. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you asked whether or not or how we thought that dating was affected by this, right, Mel?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a guy at work and he's recently divorced, probably like 6 months. And of course, I talk about some of the stuff that we talk about on YouTube with him because he's a gentleman that has lots of dating opportunities. and I would say you would never suspect that this man would have as many opportunities as he does. He's a big guy. He's really goofy, but he's a very sweet human being. And I asked him, I said, where do you think some of these like younger dudes that are talking about all this stuff, where do you think they're going wrong? And he actually brought up exactly this. He was like, I think a lot of times people are just trying to communicate through text. A lot of people are trying to communicate through chats or just sending, messages. He's like, you got to pick up the phone sometimes and you got to call people. And a lot of what he's doing is obviously he's making, relationships with people beforehand out, doing things. He just gets out and does things. He joins groups. He goes and hangs out with people, and then he just starts conversations. And he, like I said, he's a genuinely like very kind-hearted human being. And so that comes off well with the women that he's looking to date. And, he ends up having a lot of dates with these different women. And currently he's not looking to settle down and have a relationship because he just got out of a marriage. And so he was just saying, he's like, it's a human contact part of it. He's like, because he tried the whole eHarmony and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, it worked okay. But he's like, I just didn't feel like I ever had a connection with any of these people that I was meeting. So his like best advice was that, you can send a text message, you can do all that stuff, you can swipe left, whatever it is. He's like, but if you're not like actually trying to create contact with that person, like giving them a phone call, he's like, you're really not creating a connection with them. And then when it doesn't work out after the first date, you know why.
Yeah. I really had that conversation with somebody else.
Over
I think it's better that way, I'm pretty much
a
for
lot
the old
of
school guys too. Get the number and just keep it
It's
pushing.
very cold, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you text message somebody and they don't text message you back in like, you know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You start like thinking, oh my God, like this person doesn't like me. Then they send you a message like an hour later and you're like, oh, okay, now they're texting me. Now you're freaking out because you're like, oh, so do I send them one fast? Do I like wait? Do I, you know, like it's way too like you pick up the phone and say hi, you know, like if that person doesn't want to, you know, conversate with you and they don't want to have a human interaction with you, that might be your first red flag.
If my husband had
Well,
that issue, then we wouldn't be married. I would just point blank, period. Because I don't like. There's no way in the I don't know you yet, but we're gonna get to know each other stage. I'm picking up the phone. I don't even pick up the phone when my mother calls me. People know
Me
not
neither.
to call
I hear
me.
that. Yeah.
I use phones to make plans with people to
What about
come to my house, or I
FaceTime?
come to meet you at your house or something. I don't mind talking to people face to face, but I don't like the phone. Like as a general
about
thing, I don't. My
FaceTime?
sister moved to like across the country. I almost never talk to her, but when she comes here, I'll see her every day. I don't like the phone.
Mel said, "What about FaceTime? What about FaceTiming?"
Ruby.
See now, okay, so when I'm dating, right, and if we get to that place where it's like I like you, that's where we're gonna go FaceTime or Discord, you know, where you're now FaceTiming call, but that's like further along in the process. Once there's already a connection there's already a spark there, things are already going well, and that's the step that you get to before you're like, okay, let's meet in person, right? Because first I want to see if there's a vibe there, voice, then I want to see if there's a vibe there, face to face, then it's like, let's go out in person and meet a human being that's, you know, that can touch and whatever, right? So I think there's just different steps to the whole thing, right? And a lot of people go on to Tinder, then go, I can't find a serious relationship. Tinder's not for serious relationships. Tinder is to hook up. Everyone there is just trying to get
POF.
Like, POF is also for a bunch of people who want to get their itches scratched, right? So like that's not, that's not where I met like my husband, right?
I actually met a friend. I generally met a friend of POF, and the only reason I met this person, they reached out. This is years ago, and the first message they sent me was like, "Hey, is this site a good site?" And I pretty much had to give the same answers like, "Hey, it's for them guys and what girls who want to get the itches. The guys don't read the profiles. The women always complain in their profiles like, hey, read their profile." That's pretty much the whole heading. So I don't think this is for you.
I think you guys will like. I think you'll like the psychology of this one. Okay, so I just came from CrimeCon, right? Okay. So they have what's called podcast YouTube Row. So it's just awesome. You know, like all of the people that you listen to, like, you know, what we're doing right now. And they have booths and you can go and you can meet them. And I noticed that as I was walking up and listening and actually interacting in person with the people that I see online, and like they're so cool. Like we literally, I was just on a panel with you like 2 weeks ago, dude, and you're acting so like awkward. It was like
that's funny.
It's created this whole and all of them, and I think it's because we're all on here, you know, and especially the ones on Podcast Row, like they're on Podcast Row. They've got it a pretty established YouTube and they come across like so personable. Like I was thinking when I meet them in real life, like they're going to be just as outgoing as they are online and just as like, you know, engaging. And it was not that at all. Like at all. In person, they were just kind of like, "Hi, there's a sticker." Like,
but you know, like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, like, you know, like the question, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? It's like, is it that, you know, all of this online stuff ruined their ability to socialize? Or is it the fact that they were already really bad at in-person socialization, which is what drew them to YouTube and made them so relatable and therefore successful on YouTube, right? Or like whatever social media.
Yeah, you see me, you're getting hugged. That's the way it is. Like I'm just like I am on camera, off camera.
Yeah, I'm sarcastic.
So I have to come inside. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Me too.
Outside, and I was just like, it kept getting bigger and bigger. I'm like, yeah, that's enough of this.
Well, it's funny you say that about YouTube. Facebook was like that forever before, like really the content creator, like the panels and stuff happened. It's like if somebody could like comment on your stuff and you would kind of know them through like your Facebook friends or whatever. And if they ever saw you in real life, like it was like weird to talk about. Like my aunt, like she would say all the time, she'd go, I see what you post on Facebook.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're a shit stirrer, just like you. And I'm like, oh yeah. And she's like, it's funny though. I laugh at all that stuff. And I'm like, you're the first person. And I get that. Like, it's funny because it's like the opposite, right? Like a lot of my family would laugh at all the shit that I post and stuff, but they would never say anything. They never comment on it. They never like it. I don't get enough likes. I'm like, but then they'd see me and they'd be like, dude, I love everything that you post. It's so funny. Like all those memes are hilarious. And I'm like, really? I'm like, you never say anything? They're like, no, I don't know. I just scroll past it. But on the other hand, it's like the people that do comment on my stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, did you see that thing I posted about that infographic on that? And they're like, oh, let's not talk about that. Like,
that's funny because I'm a big fan of Facebook, even when it went back called the Facebook. Like I had like 12 accounts, delete them. So the last account, which is this one, I had it for so long. They actually give you a reminder, I think like maybe 10 years back. So I pretty much was just posting everything. The beginning stages was like, we call it Facebook war. So let's say, for example, I had an issue with Mel. I'll post on my my wall about Mel. Mel will post stuff about her wall. We have mutual friends, and the mutual friends will see stuff. So they check going back and forth. And then if a friends on her end will see stuff, they'll come on my end. It'll be a whole thing, right? That was the whole one era of Facebook after the Facebook.
Passive aggressiveness.
Exactly. It was crazy. So then a year later, which is 5 years back before the pandemic, when I was in the whole fitness thing and all that. So all I would just do is just like, okay, post all my workouts, post my meal preps, got pretty good at it. Then I did Motivational Monday. So I'll just be me in the car just driving and just either singing to a tune or just saying something inspirational. And I did that for like the longest time. Now it comes to where Angry was saying, right? So now people start picking up. Then I took on like trips, doing little road trips, showing off stuff, and had friends gathering. We went somewhere out the country. Then it just started going crazy. So now I had a relationship with somebody, respectfully to her, because I'm like, okay, I wasn't with you, so I'm like got the tank top and the poses. So and I was like, oh, I'm about to take this cool little picture of me, pretty much kind of shirtless, not shirtless, and say good morning. But I have like this huge, message, right? I said, okay, I got a girlfriend. Hey, it's okay if I post this picture? She's like, sure, I'm not insecure, no problem. So I post a picture, bananas. But as soon as I have like a random conversation about a little dumb stuff, nobody says anything. But the moment I post a picture, like, comment, inbox, and I say, okay, it never fails. Never fails. This is why I think like media, and coming back a little bit on the influence side, this is when people have to be very careful how you do certain things and what you do in media. And even like once I think I had like a cousin, right? Even though I posted something a little bit thirst trappy, but I had the message and the meaning for it, nobody was there for the message except for maybe two. Everybody was there for the thirst. So that's where people have to pay attention to.
It's funny, like my situation with my wife is like, I talk about my wife a lot on these spaces, and when I was super active on my podcast, I talked to my wife, but she was just like, please, because I had her posted before, and then she got all these random like friend requests and like followers from like India talking about how they want to kiss her vagina and stuff like that. She was like,
Bob's and vagine.
She was just like, please don't take me off and don't. And like,
why do you have such a strong following from India?
I don't know this. I don't know. I never post her.
They like,
and I definitely don't tag her. And then I said, you know what? It's like, it's my anniversary. It was our anniversary a couple weeks ago. I said, you got to let me post you because I talk so much about you. She said, okay. I said, how about I post of like the first picture we ever took together? She was like, that's fine. And then I posted a picture of our trip last year to Mexico. And she said same. But the thing is, she doesn't follow my podcast page, so she's not on there. There's no way to like link her to me. It's on but when she was following me, it was like a bad thing. She's like, why'd you do that to me? Why did you set me up for that?
I love you, baby. I love you.
He's like, I love you more than your husband. That kind of stuff, So it's just like, you gotta be careful about this shit.
I want success for you. I will support you in any way I can. From behind the scenes, and I'm proud of you, but I do not want to be a part of it at all. I don't want. He doesn't even have Facebook. I don't even think he knows what Instagram is. He tried to have a Twitter once, and canceled that. Like, you know, and I have to respect that. But sometimes it gets weird because like, he doesn't want me to talk about him really, and I want to be as respectful as possible. So I'll just be like, my man,
yeah, I keep because Ruby been through a lot of this before in the past where just keep like, hey, first of all, they can't see the ring. That's something wrong with them. And two, if you just acknowledge like, hey, I'm married, just short and sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, girl, you know, I'm married. Done.
Been together for 16 years, but I don't want to get married. It's just another thing. But I'm like,
that's fine. You're married. You're common law, so you're married. You can say your husband. It's fine. 16 years is a long time to be common law.
It is.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I keep collecting. You know, like the second one I interviewed Vic BC and them. They had a crazy, good, very interesting story. They actually met through the Sims game back in the day, and they've been together like over 20 years. Yes, they've been together over 20 years. He left from Florida to Canada, and she was like, "Oh, we got a secret story to let everybody know." And I said, "Oh, but it's like we never been legally married. They just been letting everybody know that we're husband and wife." And I said, oh, "Okay, that's really cool, really, really good." Wow. All right, so let me share this little video in continuation of the media influencers. So this is it goes by the name of Significant B-Size. Yeah, like I love this dude. He did actually a breakdown of the red pill manosphere, how it's pretty much is linked up with a lot of stuff that's very toxic. But he pretty much break down. He gave like his own saying like, "Hey, how you feel like SNEAKO's a groomer?" And I figured instead of me just trying to influence others here in the GreyPill Podcast, we have our own conversation about it and see where this goes. Now, stop me anytime you want to, because it's 15 minutes long. I don't want to play all of it. But if anybody have like any questions or comments in between, let me know and I'll pause it. We can have the conversation.
Okay.
Part of the internet you tend to hang out on. You might have seen a very viral moment recently from well-known red pill weirdo SNEAKO having a photo op with some of his oldest fans. And by oldest fans, I mean 11, 12 at most. And it's a heartbreakingly...
What was that? I heard that.
Mr. Spock?
No, sir. No.
That looked like Mr. Spock right there.
Awful moment that will make you lose some faith in humanity. So trigger warnings for all the usual things before I play this clip.
What did you take? Fuck the woman. Fuck the woman. What? No, wait. We love women. We love women. We love women. What? Not like transgenders. Yes, sir. We love everybody. No. Okay, yeah, man. Reach.
What have I done? In this moment, these little boys reflect back to SNEAKO the exact same rhetoric and energy that he has been spewing out for the better part of a year, complete with misogyny, homophobia, and transphobia. All that was missing was the newfound anti-Semitism, COVID denial, and a little bit of Bitcoin nonsense. And you'd have the entire SNEAKO catalog right there on display. I've talked about SNEAKO a few times. I gave him an empathetic analysis in my conservative sex video, but for the most part, I've been trying to stay away from making too much content about this guy because there's probably no one who is more blatantly grifting on the right wing than SNEAKO. He genuinely has no real solid opinions on anything other than being anti whatever the left or woke is in a given moment.
That's pretty much literally what you just said earlier, Ruby. He just goes all over the place. All over the place. It's crazy.
He genuinely makes me sad. Like, at least Andrew Tate has the traumatic childhood backstory to explain his sociopathic behavior. But SNEAKO, he just had a bad breakup and started spewing red pill shit as a result. And then he realized he can make way more money as a foaming at the mouth red pill goofball than a moderately talented filmmaker or comedian. And he's been that ever since. And this is not some theory or attack. He's all but openly admitted that this is the case for him.
My brain has almost been trained to get used to this. It's like, why would I sit down and I used to do these videos where like I would draw on the videos too, like everything happens for a reason. I did all these drawings and I did set up all these shots and I was stacking cards, like going around all over New York City. And thinking about doing that now, spending 2 weeks on a video seems terrible. If I can make one reaction video that has double the views, why, like just it really sucks in a sense, because it's like, if you only think about money and views, it's like, why the fuck would I ever go back to that?
Probably the saddest.
And that's the problem right there. That's absolutely the problem right there. So yeah, why would anybody take him even as seriously?
That's what he's doing, right? Is he like so he knows, okay, and I could like be like a real person and make like a real impact. I could be positive, because I've heard that like before he has like made like positive videos. I don't know a lot about SNEAKO, but I've heard other people say that, right? And so you guys can confirm or deny that.
I only know if it's positive when he was doing the streets. Just that was it. Like he had like genuine conversation with people in the streets of New York. Somewhere after that, it just went left.
Well, I think he figured it out. I think that's what he just said there, is that like he recognizes at one point or another. It's that like moment, like, I don't know, most people that have like 1,000 or more subscribers have a video that like did really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a video did 185k views, and I had a couple that did over 140. And during that time, like I started to recognize who was following me and who the people were, like, and some of them were pretty crazy people. And I also didn't know what React content was. I didn't know I was doing React content. I'm an old person. I'm on the YouTubes watching videos and laughing. And like, it kind of freaked me out a little bit, and it actually sent me the other route, right? Like I was kind of like, oh, wait. I don't want these people like being involved in my life. I have kids. I have a wife that I cared about. Like Damien said, I don't need a bunch of Indian dudes sending my wife, pics, like trying to take my place. So, I went the opposite route. But I do see where he's coming from, where he's saying like, okay, so I made all these videos that were like good videos, as far as like all the work he put into them, and those didn't do much. But then I did this like React content, like, I said something anti-Semitic, or I said something, it's, what is it, right wing, with a lot of right wing like rhetoric stuff, conspiracy theory stuff, that stuff blows up, right? Because people want to see that controversial Jerry Springer content. And so it almost like there's a moment there that's very sad. It's like the loss of who he was as a person.
You can see in the video when the kids were up to him and he was saying it took him off, it caught him off guard. He was shocked. But there's a point where we say, okay, what am I going to do with this? Do I sit there and set the record straight and be like, no, and really tell them what I feel? And really try to really say, no, you can't be thinking like that. This is the way I think. Your limited understanding of what I said have led you to believe X, but I really mean Y. But he could have absolutely done that if that's the way he really felt. Like if he really felt like they were like getting his message wrong, he could have really took the time to kind of straighten them out, get them straight. But I think what that does is that he feels like, okay, does that hurt my brand? Everything, it's not about what's right and what's moral. It's about what would hurt my brand. Would it hurt my brand to, like, if he really doesn't feel, or he really wants, these kids are really getting it wrong, to correct them? And I think was telling right there. It was like he had the opportunity to say, you know what, that's not what I'm about. You've misconstrued it. Let me give you an understanding of that. Let me give it to you on your level of understanding, so you can really know what I'm talking about. He totally just
he did say that
about it.
He did. No, I'm not sure why people don't actually show the video in full, because he says it to the kids. When the kids say stuff about women and how they hate women, he goes, no, we love women, right, guys?
But no. He said it tongue in cheek. It wasn't like,
I was going to say he said it, but he didn't.
No, he did. It was not tongue in cheek. He looked dead ass serious and sounded dead ass serious.
No.
There you go.
No. Because here's the thing.
I don't believe it. He turns around and takes the picture. It was like, yeah, let's take the picture.
No, because because no one plays the video in full and then reacts to the whole video, because it's way more damning if you just take most of SNEAKO's actual reactions and most of his responses and just play the kids saying it, because the kids saying this stuff is damning, right? What's extra damning though is that the Red Pill has this issue, this PR issue, right? Where all of the adults can say, listen, we know it's all satire. We all know that, hey, we're making this huge, we're saying all this huge stuff to prove a point, but we don't mean it like that. We don't really mean this. We don't really mean this, right? And so all the adults are saying that, right? And everyone else has been saying, yeah, but most of your audience is not adult. And most of those very young people do not understand that level of nuance. And so they think you mean everything you're saying exactly as you're saying it. And that's a problem. And they've been all saying for years, no. Everyone gets it. Everyone knows. And when SNEAKO says on his stream, y'all know I don't literally hate women, right? Everyone goes, yeah, we know that. Yeah, those people are stupid. But the truth was just illustrated there. We're like, no, the kids are just literally repeating what you're saying verbatim. The funny thing, the thing where you make the funny faces, yeah, that's what they're just repeating it verbatim. And then they're getting all their friends to repeat it verbatim. And they're not thinking through what it means because they don't care what it means. It doesn't matter. It's funny. Right. Yeah. And so I think that was a moment where, and that's why he was taken off guard a little bit, is because he didn't process that. Like, no. There's no nuance. These are
but he could have still did. He could have,
yeah.
But at that moment, he could have still did like Angry and Dame suggested, like, look, yeah, it was a shocking moment, but again, he's still dope, right? He's the guru. He has all the answers because he be giving all this great advice. That was his moment right there. Like, look, y'all not on the age limit of the people I'm actually talking to, or I'm thinking I'm talking to, or actually reaching to. These are children, somebody else's children. Let me now have that moment to have that conversation. So for me, I take it as tongue in cheek. He dropped the ball.
Do you care that he said it? Because everyone's saying he should have said it, but then when I say he did say it,
no.
There's a longer video. Hold on. There's a long. So you're saying there's a longer video where he stopped all the smiling and grinning and selfie taking to say, all right, let me educate you. Let me give you a truer understanding of what I actually mean. There's that video is in his existence. Or
what he did is the same thing SNEAKO always does when he disagrees with people, where you'll say this, he'll say, no, that's not true, that's wrong. If you then rebuttal with just repeating yourself or saying, no, we hate women, then he goes, shit. And that's it, because SNEAKO's not he's not like this really smart guy. He's not a great debater. He doesn't have that. That's why he just says bot 1,000 times, right?
Okay, so it's still
he corrected the thought, but then he didn't know what to do when they didn't accept it. He had no idea what to do.
That's talking to adults. That's talking to adults. He was those were children. Those were children. So there was going to be no debate. There was going to be no pushback. There wasn't going to be anything. There was going to be.
He got pushback. That's the point. SNEAKO said, "No, that's not true. We love women. We love women, right? We respect women, right, guys?"
Let me finish.
He literally said it to the kids. He literally said it, and the kids' responses were, "No, f these women. These modern women did it," and just so. So
let me get this straight.
And then the kids turned around and just kept repeating it, and he went.
So he says that one phrase.
I think I created a monster. Is what he said,
and then he's like, "Oh well, I tried to re-educate. I tried to explain to these 11-year-olds, but they overtalked me, or they didn't get it. So I just kind of
SNEAKO's not an adult. Why does everyone respect SNEAKO like he's a man? He's not a man. He's not an adult.
I think we all agree on that.
He's not an intellectual. He's not a great debater.
We're not disagreeing with that.
Is a little.
Sounds like you really have a crush on this dude.
And doesn't mean anything he says ever at any point. SNEAKO just runs his mouth. And so when SNEAKO turned around and said to these kids, "No, come on, guys. Of course we love women. Of course we respect them." Just like when he said to freshman, of course we don't respect them. Of course
run it back.
Whatever. And then they disagree with them. That's the end of SNEAKO's capability. SNEAKO doesn't have more capability than that.
Hold on. So we're running back with the moment with him and the kids. We're running back. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see him respond again, because I think that Dame's right. I think that Ruby, you're giving him too much credit for even trying to be like
he said it. I don't think he said it in this video, because I don't think he even shows the whole thing, does he? But yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. I mean,
awful moment that will make you lose some faith in humanity. So trigger warnings for all the usual things before I play this clip.
What did you take? Fuck the woman. Fuck the woman. What?
Look at that.
We love women. We love women. What? Not like transgender. Yes, sir.
We love everybody. No.
Okay,
yeah,
come on. Reach.
Look, and he goes, he's literally beyond his capability.
In this moment,
when he just says, when he goes, hey, no, come on, guys, we love everyone, right? No, come on, guys, we love women, right? And they go, no, we don't. Fuck those women. Fuck the transsexuals.
That's, in my opinion,
that's beyond SNEAKO. SNEAKO's this big. Why does anyone respect SNEAKO?
No. I think he's just being a content creator. I don't think he means that. Like, I mean, obviously,
I see the mask on.
Yeah. this smile when he turns around and looks at the camera. I mean, the fact that the camera is turned into him, everything, like, to me, that's like saying he doesn't mean that shit. He doesn't care that those kids feel
this
that
is a
way.
viral moment. This is
It's
going
a viral moment. And that's what he just said in that video before, is that, like, you know, when I did the content creation and I did reactions, like, everybody was into that. Why would I ever do the other videos again? He's literally playing off that. He's like, look, here's my moment. Here's my 200K views.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Yep.
That's how he is.
In this case, I mean,
I actually agree with what you said about Red Pill,
from Red Pill at this point. So before this, SNEAKO is already, so, you know, we can say that all we want, but we have to remember, if you're talking about someone who only cares about their brand, right? So we have someone who for months has been trying to change their brand because that brand is not profitable for them anymore. So especially since Fresh and Fit went onto his stream and did all that Nazi stuff and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Not profitable for him anymore. So that's why he's been walking around having the Quran out all the time. He's actively speaking out against the Red Pill community and against the manosphere, right? It's not profitable for him anymore to support it. It's not. So that's why he's backing off of it. So it's not actually profitable for him to support these kids. Be like, yeah, ha 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 to these kids.
He was just literally on Zerka's show. So I mean, he's not. He only does the things that he grifts. I mean, he was at first it was like the Fresh and Fit thing. Then like Destiny and him went against Rolo, and he's like, Rolo ain't shit, which is funny because what you said about the Red Pill thing, I agree with that, right? Like that they all say all this shit. Like, I mean, his moment right there was just like Rolo's vasectomy moment, where he was like told all those people that they should get vasectomies in their 20s, and then when people called him out, and he's like, no, it wasn't advice. It wasn't advice. I was being sarcastic. I was joking. Like that's the same thing SNEAKO's doing right there. Is like, oh no. This is just jokes. It's just jokes. You know, like he's not. He's just grifting. I mean, I think he'll take any what we say earlier, he's filling a hole. I think he'll take any attention at all, regardless of it's good or if it's bad. Absolutely. And that's why I don't think he cares what those kids were saying was bad. I think that he's like, cool, people are paying attention to me.
No, he doesn't care in the long-term way. He cares in the way that a 14 or 13-year-old would. And that's what I'm trying to say, though, right? Unlike normal adults, see, this, we keep treating him like he's an adult, and I don't think he is. He's not self-actualized. He's not an adult. He doesn't deserve the respect of addressing him like he's other adult men, because he's not, right? So that's why, like, even though he disagrees, and he was trying to get Myron to not be doing the Nazi salute and whatever on his stream, ultimately, because everyone else there thought it was funny and let's keep doing it, he'll sit there and laugh even though he is infuriated inside and he knows it's going to destroy his whatever he's trying to do even more, right? Why? Because SNEAKO's not a man, okay? SNEAKO will laugh along with the group because he really needs that positive, like, affirmation from those
I
people
agree.
in that moment.
I agree to everything you're saying, but in the eyes of Allah, he's a man to me. And if I see him doing that around my kids, I'm handling my kids first, and if I can get them away safe distance, I'm coming for SNEAKO. That is me. Shout out to our brother Jumbie. Brother Jumbie says, shout out to the second coolest ginger. Who's the first?
I'll be number 2. I'm fine with it.
Probably Carrot Top.
I don't want to know who number 1 is, because that's just
Carrot
Top. I'm not fine with number 1.
Right?
Gaming my
it's gonna
spot
hurt
over
my
there.
feelings.
I'm not fine with that.
Chuck Norris.
I'm
Ron
not
Howard.
fine with
If
that.
he says Ron
I'm
Howard,
going
I'm
back
okay
over
with
there.
that.
I'm going to claim my throne. All right. Shout out to Uncle Fatty. Appreciate you. Again, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. Definitely hit the like. It helps us out a lot. So appreciate you. Uncle Fatty says, can we agree that anyone dealing with or talking to anyone with the intent of influencing or changing their opinion is inherently a groomer ? Especially when it comes to clicks.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't call SNEAKO a groomer. I don't. I think that's a bridge too far.
Yeah, I don't know
He's a
if I would
groomer.
call everybody that's trying to change somebody's opinion a groomer. I think if I was, I mean, specifically when we talk about groomers, we're talking about people that are like dealing with children, right? Like, isn't that the idea?
Not
of a
necessarily.
Well, but
No?
it's not. Well, no.
You
Children
groom
are
adults
vulnerable
too.
populations, but it's
Can
what
you
you're
groom
trying
adults
to
as
do.
well?
And
Fuck,
why
I guess I
specific
don't know these
purpose.
people, but
Well,
for
I
a
think in this
specific
context,
intent.
the term groomer or grooming is, refers to a very specific sect of deviants.
Okay. And I guess the red pill, as Ruby is rightfully pointing out, there's a lot of very immature older men that, maybe you're in your 30s, but you act like you're 12 still. Like that's very well put. But I guess my opinion on that is like, I don't think that SNEAKO intentionally is grooming anybody. I think I'm just going to continue to say that he's, even if his brand changes every 6 months or every 6 weeks,
it's all about the clicks.
I still think that, like he's playing a character, and yeah, he's very immature. He's like a 14-year-old boy that just wants to be, somebody pay attention to me. Somebody pay attention to me. Like, anybody. I don't know what his father is like. Maybe he didn't get a lot of attention. I don't know. Maybe his parents were busy a lot. But it seems like he's got a lot of that need for people to like love him, to like him, to he wants to be popular. He wants to be popular.
Hug me, daddy, hug me. Just to get the definition out the way. So, what is a groomer in relationships? Again, when we're speaking of relationship, that could be with children's, girlfriends, boyfriend, husband, wives, and therefore. So, groomer is when someone builds a relationship, trust, and emotional connection with a child or a young person so they can manipulate, exploit, and abuse them. Children and young people who are groomed can be sexually abused, exploited, or trafficked. Anybody can be a groomer, no matter their age, gender, or race. Boom.
It doesn't only have to be sexual though. It also could be like, say, for financial gain, or like for any other reason, right? Like you can, so it doesn't have to be sexual abuse. But I still wouldn't call SNEAKO a groomer because all he did was jump on a train that was already going. He wasn't really trying to convince.
Those 11-year-olds liking him was just a byproduct. It wasn't the intent.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's like, so almost everything is intent, right? Like everything is intent. Yeah.
Influencer and groomer, you know what I mean? Like they're not the same, but yet, especially young kids that are impressionable and they're hearing these things and they're locking onto it like it's their new god, it's their new idol. And that can be scary, but that's where parents come in, like you got to know what your kids are into, even if that means that you've got to watch someone that you find annoying as hell just to make sure that your kids are getting the right message. And not that you don't let them hear that, but that you have a conversation with them about, hey, let's talk about this, and give them another side. Kids need to be able to be exposed to things, in my opinion. That way, the more you know, then the more you can stand firm on what you believe. And like, I just feel like that's an important part of it, of like, when it comes to young children on all of these apps and watching these people. And then as a creator, like each one has to come to terms with, am I gonna not care what I do to be infamous? Or am I gonna hold firm to certain morals that are in my life and they're gonna stay that way in my, social media creator self? It's just. And I think that, I don't think a lot of creators come into it ever really having a conversation with their self, their inner self of like, what do I want to put out there? And what am I not willing to compromise on? Like in my genre, which if you don't want to get stalked, I know Angry Ginger said something about it earlier, like it is just wild in my, genre. But like,
how old were you when you started, Mal?
It was just in 2018 podcast though, so just audio. 2018 or 19? I don't know. I'm 45 now, so not not
late 30s to early 40s around there.
But yeah, like I literally wrote, my, this is what I want to stick with, and I don't ever want to forget the things that I wrote down before I even started, and it does get difficult, because you got a whole, especially when it comes to a lot of people in true crime are there because they are psychopaths and they are drawn to watching true crime because it's a part of their fantasy, the fantasizing of it, and they become it, or you've had to live through it. And I see a lot where the dilemma really is being aware of the victims' families and not just the shocking things. Like one girl put out autopsy photos of Penn Stout, like just because for click, just to grow her channel and to make money. And like that's where you've got to be able to be like, am I gonna do that kind of stuff just to get my channel bigger, just to, and that is just like,
but like, how old was she? Because the reason why I ask is because everyone's forgetting that SNEAKO's still like in his 20s, but SNEAKO started when he was a child, right? He was like, what, 15, 16 when he was doing those documentaries. He was very young. So everyone's forgetting that, first of all, SNEAKO's been doing this for a decade, but secondly, that he started when he was a child. So you're forgetting like the fact that, like, in general, we see this with child stars and whatever. When you start in an industry like that, where your entire identity, everything you think is like cannon fodder, right, and the whole world's allowed to cancel you or critique you or demand things from you and whatever, and you just have to give, right? And then on top of that, he was like a documentary kind of maker, and he was answering some questions I think most 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds would never tell anyone publicly. You know what I mean? And he was admitting to these things because that's what it was about. It was a deep dive on, humanity, on coming of age and whatever. Right. And it wasn't profitable at all. Right. But everything around, he was trying to do something deep and connected, and it wasn't profitable. What was profitable? Mr. Beast, someone who started off being one of his subscribers, right, and one of his supporters. Right. And so when you see that and you put your heart and soul in something when you're a child, right, and then you see over here people are doing nothing good, but they are just being rained with money, with adulation, with respect, with whatever, and you're a child. What message are we expecting these young influencers to get, and what are we expecting them to be when they're 18, 19?
Are you saying SNEAKO got groomed?
No, because
did you just the whole script?
That sounded about right. Hey,
it sounded like you just said SNEAKO got groomed.
That's what it sounded like. That's a definition right there. Wes got
that's
final
crazy,
thoughts.
I mean, it could be true, right? Like, is there? So we just said it was about intent, but can you unintentionally groom people too? I mean, like I said, unless you like to my content when I was first doing it, I got a lot of answers from people that were even on my side of like the aisle as far as that goes, that they said things that I was like, no, I don't support that. I don't support any of those things. And if I didn't say it, if like speaking of what we just watched, if I didn't say no, hey, that's not my style, please don't say that, please don't do that. In fact,
needs to be said,
some of those people, I blocked those people and banned those people, even though there are people that followed and liked my content. I was like, no, like in a way, I am like creating a community that I want to be okay with. I don't know, is it, are you capable of unintentionally grooming people as well?
Yeah, hold on. Hold that thought. Wes, final thoughts for you, sir, because I know you said you got to go night-night. Somebody going to tuck you in? Not me, Paul.
Well, I wish I had someone to tuck me in, but no. I'm still waiting to fulfill that position. But, yeah, it is getting late for me. I got to wake up early tomorrow. Got a lot to do. Thanks for having me on. SNEAKO is lame. I think people that watch him and idolize his content are also lame. So I tell my kids, stay away from those lame content, producers there. And as we addressed earlier in the conversation, parents need to be more aware of what their kids are watching, and be able to address that in real time. For a while ago, there was these memes going across the internet, across the Facebooks, of people like putting screws in their tires, saying, "Oh, why buy expensive snow tires when you can just do this?" Crap like that. Yeah. And I thought, wow, that's hilarious. Who does that? But actually, people would do that, and it serves them right if they're going to be that stupid. But I mean, you're talking at ruin a couple $100 on a tire, as opposed to somebody watching this content and making some very bad life decisions or incorporating some very bad life philosophies that's going to ruin them down the road. That's way worse than putting screws in your tires. And still, those people deserve what they get.
I agree. Hold on before you go, Wes, because since we're talking about what time is End of Night stream for tomorrow, Angry? Do you know?
6 o'clock. Wednesdays at 6.
6 our time, Eastern, Pacific.
Oh, she's 9. So Florida, it's 6 Pacific. Sorry.
Okay.
Hey,
I'll email.
I think I've already asked this, but Plaid, do you have a channel?
No, I don't. I just come on here. I had a channel a while ago. That's why I'm kind of in the YouTube streets, but I went dark on everything.
You went clean.
I mean, there's a podcast out there. Can I get some podcasts? You can go to.
Yeah, I'll drop you a link right now. I
haven't done anything.
Are you sure it's not, Angry Chocolate Productions?
Hey, Mel, just to be fair though, he'll have good conversation.
I want to see that.
He'll have real conversation. Well, hold on, because I'm going a little bit too far. First of all, Wes is a friend and family of the show. He's here every Tuesday. He responds like you. Like if I give him an email, he's there. So he's very prompt. He's pretty much the only. I got to throw everybody at the bus. He's very prompt when he comes up. So it's every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central. He's here all the time for conversations. If it's about drama and the BS, he will never show up. That's literally how he rolls. So I appreciate every time. Yeah. So for him to come up and show on my platform, I take it as a high honor. Damon, with Can I Get Some Podcast? Great content creator. I actually respect how me and him met, via email through a toxic space. So I very much respect him for that one. For seeing something in me throughout the all clutter. Every time he have great conversation, for some reason it turns into a whole sex topic. It start there, and an hour later just goes sexual for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm serious. We could be talking about anything. We could be talking about the strength of the Ukrainian armed forces. And it'll be like, well, they probably screwing in those, and then it's just like, it's like, I mean, my co-host was an ex-stripper, so kind of goes around sometimes.
No, but you had another cast too. Another one was an OnlyFans girl. I knew her from another space, so but I think she was. But I don't know, just somebody just goes there for some reason. But I'm down for it. It's a good conversation over there.
I'm gonna start it back. People have been asking. I've been getting a lot of emails about starting it up again. I'm gonna start it up again.
I want to hear it.
But I just subbed to you, Angry.
Oh, sweet, thank you. And you have
anyway.
Yeah. Wes?
Not everybody, and just I really trust Ruby's comments on. We were talking earlier about Nazism. I really trust Ruby's comments on that because if anybody understands it, obviously it would be the Canadian Parliament.
Of course, naturally. Yep.
Not everyone.
Sweet dreams.
I knew he was going to sneak that one in. I was waiting for
he had to do something. He hadn't mentioned Canada even once. It was weird.
It's one or the other. Got to be Canadian or Canada. He going to throw shots from one or the other.
Got it for sure. Yeah, no, it's fair.
All right. So let me share this video, and while I'm doing that, I'll send Mel the link, and I will drop Can I Get Some Podcast link along with Angry Gingers and Ruby. Also, because they're always a friend of the show.
I already got Ruby, but definitely.
Okay, cool. Also, at the end of the day, when I'm streaming, because I do timestamps too, which is take work. So I always add everybody, including yourself, Mel, like the guest, your channel. So that'll be in the description for everybody, along with a timestamp. So y'all can know where you can find everybody and go from there. So if you go there, go respect, because I know there's trollers and watchers. People very funny how they do their channel. So and respect them. So if you go there, just say GP sent you and take it from there. All right. So let me share this real quick and get back to the video.
Same rhetoric and energy that he has been spewing out for the better to explain his sociopathic behavior. But SNEAKO, he just had a bad breakup and started spewing red pill shit as a result. And then he realized he can make way more money as a foaming at the mouth red pill goofball than a moderately talented filmmaker or comedian.
And a pause record. Hey, what's going on, Eric? Appreciate you, man. It's been a minute. So I'm glad you're doing well.
And he's been that ever since. And this is not some theory or attack. He's all but openly admitted that this is the case for him.
My brain has almost been trained to get used to this. It's like, why would I sit down and I used to do these videos where like I would draw on the videos too. Like everything happens for a reason. I did all these drawings and I did set up all these shots and I was stacking cards like going around all over New York City. And thinking about doing that now, spending 2 weeks on a video seems terrible. If I can make one reaction video that has double the views, why, like just it really sucks in a sense, because it's like, if you only think about money and views, it's like, why the fuck would I ever go back to that?
Probably the saddest thing about this moment is SNEAKO's reaction, because it's clear that he's embarrassed with being faced with the consequences of his grift staring him directly in the face. This face that he's making here is him realizing how much of a groomer he's become, and that's how he makes his money. It's a face you make when you're deeply embarrassed and ashamed, but you don't want to let that emotion wash over you. So you're just like, I don't know why they would say such things to me.
I think that was Ruby's take.
You behave the way you behave because you know it gets their attention, and you want them to think you're cool and interesting and give you money. And you feel kind of bad that this is what you've decided to do with your life, but you realize you're not talented enough to be successful doing anything else. Again,
burn. I ain't gonna lie, I felt that.
Yeah, that's rough too. Yeah.
All but openly admitted to this as being the case.
When I noticed how misogynistic a lot of my fans are and how angry they got, it just...
If anybody don't know her, her name is Not So Erudite. He met, like, it's a good thing to talk to somebody that's like in the realm of therapy or been a therapist. But if you're a grifter and you are like on Andrew Tate's level, you messed up so royally talking to a therapist, because a lot will be revealed. And I promise you, you get so exposed without you even knowing it. So I'm just going to let everybody know that now. If you are grifting and you find out if they are a lawyer or they are a therapist, don't talk to them. You know.
Hey, I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question to the panel. I'm just curious because I've heard this before. It's like, do you feel like people who go to this length to like make a 15-minute video about like SNEAKO and who do this kind of like, exposing of people, do you think there's any type of validity to the fact that they might be secretly jealous or envious of their status? Because that's the first thing that people say. It was like, oh, they just hating because they're trying to like monkey bar off of my status, either do exactly what I'm doing or be a contrarian to where people like, oh, people hate him, be like, okay, yeah, let's listen to that guy. We hate him. But they're trying to like monkey bar off of his position to express their position, and hopefully it gets more thing. Yeah, clout chase.
Let me answer that, because I'm the little guy here, and this pretty much has some. I thought about that. I had like side conversations with somebody else, and the people in my actual real life, because I'll multi-stream this on my personal Facebook account, and they'll see it, and I'll get invites, not invites, but invite conversations or inbox and stuff, and I get compliments and, hey, you have a voice. You're pretty much the anti of whatever that person is. Like I said it before, like, hey, I'm the broken, busy, ugly guy, right? So my actual friends, everything I say and do, I'm pretty much the same there. But at the same time, I generally do not like this, the same people in the grifting spaces, like the Road Tomases, the MLD, the Pearly Things, the Fresh and Fits. And the reason why I say this is because I personally I know like there's so much a staying a negative, toxic influence, because those are what I see on a daily basis. Every time they say something, you look at the comments, it's like they're not who they say they are, and the people in the comments and the live chats just eat up. So people that I see on the anti side of it, that's all the little guys who got the less numbers, they're speaking against it, like Duke of Dawn, Tree of Life, myself, and somebody else. So it's like, what do we got to be jealous for when these people?
You do it a little bit differently. I'm not talking about like you do it a little bit differently. What you do is you open a dialogue regarding what they're doing. You don't sit there and make 15-minute videos exclusively about person. You want to get individual perspectives of how what they're saying are affecting the community as a whole. That's what I feel like you do. You don't sit there and be like, oh my God, I hate them. They're doing this. They're so whack. They're this, they're that, and this, that, and other. Yeah, you give your opinion. If you feel that way of somebody, you will give your opinion, but that's because it's in context with what the subject, the overall tone of the stream is. But you won't sit there and be like, okay, it's just gonna be me with a picture of SNEAKO shitting on them
and
for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do that.
If I could,
Yeah.
when I first started doing YouTube content, I had a dude. I've covered one of Destiny's, like just like a clip of his whatever podcast, right? And one of my guys that I talked to, one of my subscribers came on and was like, "Hey, I see that you used the Destiny video. I don't support people that support racism, so I'm out." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I don't know anything about that, and I actually felt really bad because this is when I maybe had like 1,000 subscribers or something like that. I mean, I still talk to all my subs now, but like I felt like, oh man, I've had conversations with you and stuff. You know that like that's not my style. And he's like, oh, I don't think it's your style, but I do think that you are supporting a racist. And I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Like I don't know any. This is like the first time I had seen like really any of the dude's stuff. So like I went to dude's chat and was like, okay, like this person left my subs because of this stuff. Can anybody tell me whether or not this guy's right or not? They like sent me down this whole path of like looking at this like some crazy stuff that had been said at some point or another. Pretty much I came to a point where I was like, I don't think he's racist. Like, I'm looking at all the stuff he's saying. I'm like, maybe he said something like I saw him a couple times where he had been accused of being racist, and he was just like, sure, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Like he wanted to get out of the conversation, and he's even said since then, like sometimes he'll just do that. If somebody says something crazy to him, he just goes, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I'm a misogynist. That's fine. And I was like thinking about it when I was doing all this research on the subject because I really wanted to make sure I wasn't supporting somebody that was racist. So I was like doing pretty in-depth research on it, and I thought about it. I go, oh, I could do a video on this. I could do a video where I said, I could use the thumbnail. Is he racist? And I could even twist it by being like, oh, at the end, I'm like, no, I found out, like you thought by the thumbnail I was going to call him racist. Now I'm not. And then I thought about it, and I was like, that's not me. That's not my content. Like, why the fuck would I do that? It's just like, it sounds like a fun thing to do, or like, it's like, but it's a little clout chasey. And also I'm like, I could like do something wrong to this dude's like career. Like people could just see the thumbnail and never click the video and be like, oh, like that dude's a racist, And I just realized, oh, that's not me. So when I see guys like this guy doing content like this, I do feel as though like you have to be honest enough to say that it is a little clout chasey, it is a little haterish, and yeah, I don't know. I watched the video with that in mind.
Tucker Carlson used to have do an interesting thing. I'm not a fan of Tucker Carlson. I'm just saying that I've just studied this and like watched it. He's doing an interesting thing. If he wanted to call you something or say something negative about you, he just frame it in the form of a question. Like if he says, want to say Joe Biden, he was like, he would just say, is Joe Biden a pedophile?
Yeah.
That's so true.
That is the way you call somebody a pedophile. That's the way you call somebody a pedophile without getting sued for libel. That's the way you do it. Yeah. And people are thinking, and then they'll just go back and they'll just like look at everything he's ever done and be like, I can see it. Yeah. So he can say it without saying it and protecting himself. And that's what I think I worry a lot of people do. They, instead of just saying, I believe this person is X, they're saying, is this a question that needs to be asked?
That's too funny. Yeah.
Well,
and I can totally hear Tucker Carlson's voice too.
Well, I think the right is a completely different kind of hustle than the left is anyway. But with that being said, I'll say this about FD Signifier, at least, is that, he posted this video on his smaller channel, right? Because his main channel has, over 500,000, just over 500,000, right? Subscribers. And it would not benefit him in any way, shape, or form to get a whole bunch of the people who would really care about SNEAKO. It wouldn't benefit him to get those people as subscribers because he's a really staunch leftist. He really talks about a lot of really left-leaning things, language, whatever, that just the people who would care about SNEAKO are not going to be down with, and they're not going to subscribe to and keep supporting. So it wouldn't really be beneficial to him to cover someone like SNEAKO. And I think that when you were asking the question of, is someone doing this just to clout chase or not? You have to look at, number one, the size of the channel and the size of that content creator. How long has that content creator been established, right? Do they need to try to trade on that clout? Would there be a long net positive to them trading on that clout. You know what I mean? And like questions like that. So I think that when you run that evaluation, in this case, no. In fact, this is like SNEAKO's name, out of all the people he could have covered, SNEAKO's name is not the one that would have the biggest pull. Given the fact that he did like a several part series about, first he did like the manosphere just overall, then he did the black manosphere, he did red pill, and he was covering these things, and he's covering them from the sense of being like, hey, I'm a black man online, and I'm a leftist though, and hey, but I kind of understand this and that, and I understand some of the issues, especially in the black manosphere. I think his black manosphere one was really good. But he's really well established, and he's really, really respected in the area, BreadTube, that he does content. So he doesn't need to trade on SNEAKO's name. So
I wasn't talking about him specifically.
No, I know
him specifically. I was just saying in general. Do you think that
no?
That like
so
some
that's what
people
I'm saying.
use that?
Really, you have to ask, and that's why I'm using him as an example, because I think that this illustrates, the point beautifully. How would it benefit him? Would it benefit him? Right? How big is his channel? Oh, 575,000. Yeah, no, once you get like over 100K, you don't need to try to trade off of the name of XYZ person, right? So on and so forth. So I think like you can just kind of use that, but also look at the integrity of the channel. Is the channel just jumping from, main huge name to huge name to huge name?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because I don't know.
I've never watched.
To be honest, a lot of the channels I don't know the people, and I don't, like I said, when the dude said that about Destiny, I was like, I mean, he's what, 600, 700K, like lots of people know he is. I didn't know. I was like, I don't know, maybe I am supporting some dude that I shouldn't be supporting, and so I went and did my research on it. So with this guy, I don't know his channel either, so that's not his thing. That's not what he does.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like sometimes because he does like, leftist type of things, he generally tends to actually do stuff that would really relate to, say, the black community, but he makes it digestible for any community who's watching, even though a lot of what he does specifically relates to the black community mostly, or to the male spaces, because those things directly apply to him, right? And that's like, you can see the difference between someone who's just, there's this name and this name, and they'll just latch onto anything to try to get a buck, or does it actually fit within their content sphere, right? Because sometimes every once in a while you luck out and you're like, oh my god, this is in my content sphere and it's viral. I'm so lucky. Right.
I agree with that.
I don't think that in that case you're trying to eat off of this person's name just because it happened to have gone viral, like lucky you, right? But like, because I do like the news, for example, and I have like a video, Jerry Springer, the whole Jerry Springer fiasco, and that is like our most viral kind of video. It gone pretty high. It still gets hits to this day, right? But I didn't do it, that one story just because, I want to eat off of Jerry Springer's death. No, actually, we allow people to send in suggestions, and that was a suggestion that was sent in, right? And because Jerry Springer is near and dear to my heart, I used to watch when I was a child. I would sneak and watch when I wasn't allowed to. Yeah, right? So I did the coverage and, trying to debunk, like, guys, listen, this is obviously not true. It's obviously a play. People are still mad at me for saying it, right? But the point is, I didn't do it to eat off of his name, even though it's the most viral video on our channel. I didn't do it to eat off his name. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you can see that because I covered news. Some of it has rich people's names or politicians or whatever, and some of it is a bunch of no-name people, right? Mildly amusing or entertaining, kind of, or weird. That's our kind of brand.
Yeah, I get it. I understand being topical, being like what's trending in the news or what have you. I understand that. I absolutely understand that. What my curious was like this, like what I should have maybe phrased the question a little bit different. What percentage of content creators do this? Like, what are you saying? If you had to say, like, is there a percentage of people who will specifically do this for that intent?
Very small percent.
I mean, but
very small percent.
But it's just wondering, is it really? Because there's very few people with 100,000. There's more people with 200 subscribers that are trying to get the views than there are people with 150, 200, 300,000.
I think we have to look at
an effective tactic.
Yeah, I think we have to look in the sectors of YouTube too, because I consider myself a digital nomad. I go everywhere. I found Angry Ginger. I found AK. Heck, I found Mel, and watch her content consistently. I said, okay, I like what I see, only because when I hear other spaces swear up and down, like, oh, there's no spaces like this. Like, oh, we go to Mel Cold Truth because this is what she does, right? But the bigger spaces you're saying, the quote unquote the grifters, the clout chasers, the ones that's for that, what you're questioning, yeah, that is for me. What I've seen is a smaller percent, but I also seen like larger platforms like Hot Chick showing different types of chainsaws and like cutting up the tree.
Hey, I know those channels.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Or I see a plant gardener or one guy, like I love him to death. Like the guy with the headband, he travels all over across the globe, mostly over the state. Then when he got stuck during the pandemic, he was like, crap, I'm gonna use this for my advantage. I'm here. So he goes and tries every food. He's been doing it ever since. And he did like a pretty much showing the origin story, like, hey, I was overweight. He took a chance. I gambled with himself and the podcast. The channel, because it does like pre-recorded and editing. So he just goes out, but he puts back into the brand where, let's say, I think he was in Asia where it was like a let's say if you get lost, you need some help. So it's like a place you can find people that kind of like give you like kind of like a taxi tour guide and everywhere else. So that became like a whole thing. So even if he's not there to show you or guide you in a video, there's something else. So it just, I'm gonna say yes, there is people like that. I think it's a little bit like Ruben said. People just have to understand like what's the whole channel about. Like if I go to Mel tomorrow, she's like, you know what, I'm on that Griffin thing, and just start doing all the type of crap. Like, man, what's going on? Then it's like I got to question her integrity of her, the channel. But there's people that does that. Even when I had
yeah, I mean there's people out there that they just love to be offended, and I don't like them.
Yes.
They're just not. I'm never not in real life, not in YouTube life, not in any kind of life whatsoever. Just always looking for one little thing. Like you said, I don't support you anymore because you supported this. Well, what is the definition of support to that person?
Yeah.
And like, what is it? Like, come on, you know, like people don't want to look at things in their totality. They want to nitpick. And
that's the one bad thing about you. And now I'm
like you can't care here. Like you cannot care what people think about you. You have to give zero forks to that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I had to figure that out. Yeah.
Researching everything to make sure that you don't offend somebody, you know, and like then you'll just drive yourself.
I feel.
Well, unless you want to be an outrage farmer, because that is also can be very lucrative. Yeah.
Man, seriously, he said that you want to be an outrage farmer.
Yeah, I posted something about
farmers.
Yeah, I posted something about community recently because I just got, it's like been 2 years, just got fed up a little bit more because I always voice my opinion, and I posted about pearly things, screenshotted, and then put on my community tab. And somebody hit me in the Discord, it's like, can you be exactly and give me some context and some receipts on what you feel? Like, what the?
No.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. I make the content. You figure the shit out. Like I'm not doing that. Yeah.
And I force my work. Like
I know you do. That's crazy.
References. I've got 3 references from 3 different places before I'll add it in. It's like
they still want more.
No.
They still want more.
No. And that's the thing. You actually know what? True crime would be a good example. Also, I watched the Manosphere get built from 2.0 until where it's at now because that's where I was for 7 years. So I'm speaking a lot on, you know, my own watching it and watching the difference between the channels that we're just trying to latch on to what was someone else has already said, what was already popular, was already done, the news that was already covered. And then people who were trying to innovate were the ones who blew up, aka the Kevin Samuelses, right? The people who weren't trying to innovate, they're still stuck way down where they were, 20,000 to 50,000, right? And then they're mad that they don't have the same credit or same blow upness that Kevin Samuels had, but there's a reason for that because innovation is important. But like I would say, like in the true crime kind of arena, right? If you were only trying to pick up on the next viral story, the next thing that everyone cares about, there's millions of pages that are going to come up before your name and your irrelevant channel are mentioned. So you can't do that. You're going to have to kind of veer off of that path and try to find, ooh, this is an interesting story. I don't remember hearing a lot of people talk about that. Let me grab onto that story.
Yep.
Let me figure out how I can get that, that thumbnail to look really interesting and to give people a new story that they haven't heard yet, or a new angle they haven't heard yet, and not always trying to be the first to cover this, because you're not going to beat the huge channels. You're not going to beat the channels that have whole teams covering them. You're not going to beat the content farm channels, right? So you have to have something original also.
You're not going to watch it, I understand completely what you're saying, and you're exactly right. Like, you're not going to make it in your own way. But at the same time, like, you can't cover old cases.
Like, all the dudes in the manosphere that say, all girls have to do to make money is do OnlyFans. And it's like, well, the problem with that is obviously there's already a ton of girls doing that. So
right.
It's like you're literally, I mean, if you got 3 titties or something like that, you might have a chance. That's different.
Shout out to Total Recall.
I mean, that's different, right?
Yeah. No, I had a slander video made about me. I was put in the video, and they said basically I was like a second-rate wannabe Jessica X who came after me, right? And I was like, when I heard that, someone told me, I'm like, dude, I was here for years before that girl showed up. Right. And I was like the new shiny pretty thing. Right. And I didn't mind showing people my face because I really look the way my pictures look and whatever. Right. But the difference is that even though I'm actually pretty and actually hot in real life, I didn't care to sell my beauty and sexuality. I didn't care to. So even though I could have been a Pearl or Jessica X and just mindlessly, repeated, whatever people were saying and just told the men they were all right and whatever, I've never been that person, never wanted to be that person. Right. Because I didn't want to sell that. And honestly, it's not the most profitable way to go. It's not, right?
Not anymore. Yeah.
It never was. No, it never was. The outrage farming or telling people what they want to hear has always been, or if you're a chick, skin, nakedness and beauty, right? Sexuality.
Or tell them they're right. Or tell them they're right. That turned out to be big too,
Yeah, that is true. Right, I was thinking trad wifing. I might try that. Just give up. It'll be all right. I'm pretty much a
retirement plan.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Everything else fails. Just dude, you guys have it so bad. You guys
trad wife. You got. I don't know, Ruby. It's a whole lot of shutting up in that job.
Hey. As a traffic influencer, you don't shut up at all, right? How much you shut up at home. Do you see what I'm saying? But no one ever sees you do it, and that's fine. That's how it is.
I'm always very quiet when I'm at the house cleaning and making sandwiches, doing the laundry.
I got you, Dane.
Don't take I love Ruby's
that was
brain.
petty.
No, I bumped that. That's some good petty there.
He came and supported the channel the other day, so right now he's got some leeway with me right now. So thank you.
Nice.
I dig Ruby's brain.
I think I'm just too stubborn to be successful at this in the long run, really.
Yeah, me too. You gotta have, and also, it's like people like you and Angry and everybody else, like you got empathy because when I do some content, like I have to think like over and over again what I'm doing, who I'm talking about. Like even like I pretty much like reshared a clip from Real, and then Dan was like, "Yo, we talk about this," and I was like, "Not right now, because I feel like I have to like watch more of her content, get some extra conversation." So that's gonna be next Tuesday. I actually emailed her last time because I wanted to see if she was wanted to come up because just a lot of stuff she said was very interesting, but I want to hear a lot of her insight personally versus just watching the video. So next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central, we will be covering Priscilla, aka the Queen Maker. So do your homework because that's going to be a lot.
I even read her book. I bought it and read it. So she can't say anything I say because she always does that to men. She goes, if you read my book, you'd understand. Well, I read your book and you still don't make any sense.
This is why I love you, Ruby, because I know you do the extra.
I always do the most. We all know I really like to be right. So
let me go online. See, there's some free ebooks out there for I can just listen on Audible.
Little magnet. It says, if I agreed with you, then we'd both be wrong.
Right? Yeah, no, that's facts. Where do I get that? I need to put that everywhere.
Probably Amazon. I found it at like a farmer's market, but I bet it's on Amazon.
Oh yeah, I love it. Great.
I love
I'll make
it.
one anyway. It's fine. Yeah.
All right, so let me share this real quick, and then we'll get our get our thoughts on that, then do final thoughts and all that good stuff. So let me share this.
Make it your green screen, Ruby.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna make that.
That would be amazing.
Amazing.
Right here.
Already looked at the cringe of it all, and Ro Ramden did a really good short video engaging with the heartbreaking nature of this situation. You should check both of those out. But for me, since I'm late and since I'm me, I got to try to figure out something useful to add to the conversation to legitimize you making a video about this motherfucker. So I want to bring it back to the whole how is the left or are we going to save men conversation and use it as yet another example of how boys, literal boys in this case, are groomed into this type of behavior, even in the absence of a bona fide groomer like SNEAKO. To make sense of this, let's look at how SNEAKO and his supporters responded to the backlash of this moment. In a few tweets and SNEAKO's response comments from other groups talking about this, you see a lot of people saying stuff like boys will be boys, or this is just how normal boys talk and they love edgy jokes and it's no big deal because they don't actually hate gay women and trans people. So first off, the whole boys will be boys stuff is complete bullshit. Most boys are not like this. These boys are like this because these boys are shitty. I know I'm not supposed to say this. You're not supposed to talk bad about kids on the internet. But I have kids, I've worked with kids, and I'm going to let you know, some kids are shitty. These are those kids. I guarantee you, if you talk to their teachers, babysitters, girls in their class, they'll tell you the truth. And anyone that's worked with kids knows this to be the case. And don't get me wrong.
Pause it a second.
I feel bad for these kids because they're just kids. And for the most part,
yep.
Yeah, I think, see, that is a bridge too far for me. Like the whole, these kids are shitty. I think these kids are just trying to be cool and they're just trying to align itself with something they be as cool. And they could be influenced. They could easily be influenced the other way. So I don't know. I think when he went there, I was just like, why is he going there with it? Talking about the kids are shitty. Like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, kids are across the line for me too. I know, and he even said it, right? He was like, I know I'm crossing a line right now. Like, I have a buddy of mine, who like, he hates this one girl, so he'll like talk shit about her kids, and I'm like, dude, no. He's like, but it's fun. I'm like, no, dude. I'm like, I don't like her either, but I can't make fun of her kids, dude. Kids are off limits for me. So yeah, I agree with that.
Fair enough. Shout out to Angry Snowman. If you're new, sir, because it seemed like you're new in the chat. Appreciate you if you hit the subscribe button. Definitely hit the like. He said no. He is right. Kids are a-holes. Let's keep it real. Appreciate your opinion,
I'm gonna
sir.
say this. I'm saying to get labeled an asshole, I think there takes some time and development there. I don't think everybody I know is an asshole has been an asshole for a year.
Yeah.
They got asshole tenure.
Yeah, my cousins is one. I got my old mentor. He was one. He's still one, but I love him.
That's what I'm saying. A 12-year-old next year could be totally different. Like I got a 12-year-old. She's gonna be 13. From when she turned 13 and 12, she's a totally different little girl.
Yeah, no, teenage
I have
girls
a 13-year-old daughter too. Me, Damien are the same people.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Little girls are evil. I know, because I was a teenage girl once, and they're devils. Like they hit middle school and they become devils until they're about 23 to 25. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm sorry,
but I'm just saying, but they could easily make this switch with the right influence and right environment. They can switch.
I agree with Damien.
Teenage girls.
Because I know people.
World is terrible.
I know little boys that are 12-year-old were assholes because I was an asshole 12-year-old, and I'm not an asshole grown up. Am I? I don't know. Maybe I am. But it's just like
kids are assholes. They're all assholes until they all it's not like
I think I just like the curse. That's what this is what this is right here. Y'all abusing the system.
A-holes. Sorry.
A-holes, sorry. All children are a-holes, and then they become adults, and then they start recognizing like certain things about reality and they stop being a-holes. But the point is that for a good amount of time first, they're a-holes. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, so we just have to like, but it doesn't mean they're bad people or they're destined to be that way forever.
I've come to talk with you again.
Yeah, no, it's true.
All kids are misguided until they get guidance. That's what it is.
Okay, no problem. But they're misguided into being a-holes. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just true. Anyone ever see the movie Mean Girls? Basically a documentary.
But then they switched at the end. There you go. At Mean Girls at the end of the show movie, they were nice.
Yeah. Temporary end of the school year after Regina got ran over by a bus. Like, let's realize things had to go wrong first, right? I'm sorry, but it's just true. It's just true.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I'm sorry. I can't have to tell the truth.
Oh man!
Welcome to the Grey Pill Podcast. That's all I can say. Welcome
Hello,
to the Grey Pill
darkness,
Podcast.
my old friend.
I think this is low key subliminally building up between the two, and it's like, yo, this is my chance. Just let it rip with the profanity. But it's all good.
I'm so sorry. I totally forgot.
Man,
hey, Inky.
I love these freaking names, like the names that people come up with for their YouTube.
She went through a whole thing transition, so she's calling herself Pinky and Pinups. So she pretty much talk about like and I apologize, Inky. And you can correct me, Inky, about her channel. Like, she mostly do a lot of gaming, but if she actually have conversations, she actually talks about mental health, abuse, and go through all that stuff, because she said that she was a victim of it. So that's pretty much her niche in conversation. So every time she come on along with Ruby and Death for Yourself, between them two, they have like a lot of insight with this. So
she's definitely an advocate.
Yeah, she's definitely an advocate. So, and the sweetest person I know. Yeah, she's really awesome. So final thoughts on everything. I think I might just make it a fun one though for tomorrow, because before Angela go live tomorrow, so I'll reconfirm the time, and then I'll just do the one for Zerker and them doing the boxing thing, and then SNEAKO doing the training, and make that a little funny one. Then see if I can sneak on in on Angela's. I hope Dame ain't there, so I can go ahead and reclaim my title. You know what I'm saying? So,
nah.
I might show up.
They kicked me out. Oh man. I never chance to fight for the right. You know, just gonna kick me out like that.
Seriously.
Oh man! I want to also say that I told Angela too. She asked one time. She's like, "Oh, could you make it?" I'm like, "I can't really make it this show." I was like, "But you know who's really good? That Damien dude. I was on a show with him the other day."
It, man.
So I'm pretty sure I'm the one that helped you solidify that position. I think I got you in there.
My man, my brother from another mother.
Well, you're the only other dude that's actually married still. So
there you go.
I gotta get married now.
It's like me and you, and then a bunch of dudes trying to get dating.
Bunch of wannabes.
I gotta get married now to solidify the. Okay, I understand.
No, it's the leading cause of divorce. That marriage is.
Yeah.
Oh man.
True.
Inky, let's get married, Inky, so I can go ahead and I can be solidified over there with the group. I could be the married group too.
No, you gotta get 20. You gotta be 20 years into this.
Sorry,
thing.
dude, you're way behind.
You got it.
Hold on, I'm gonna fix
You
it.
just start lying though. You just be
I can lie.
you don't even have to get married. You just lie.
Yeah, they don't need to know they don't need to know all that. You don't need to know
like
that.
25 years. Dame ain't got shit on me. Me and my wife been together 45 years.
There you go. We're gonna make it happen, Inky. We're gonna make it happen. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. We knew each other a long time. That's my check. Well, it was originally Inky, so that's her name, Inky. But she put if you look at her name, it'll say it is capital P, capital I. So it's like Pinky. So she explained more to it herself. What Inky say? I don't know. She check them and she say Grey Pill is going for the tax right. Hey, Inky, you know about more of the business than I do, so you let me know, girl. Am I?
Hey
I'm doing
guys,
it for
I
love.
can admit my life's already started.
Okay, final thoughts, Mel. Final thoughts.
Just be you, be real. You know, like I think there is something, maybe a conversation on the influencer parts for mental illness and anorexia and bulimia. I see a lot of that of them, you know, these influencers that are actually, you know, influencing others to be that, or in other words that people don't like you to say, you know, that are just the truth. Those kinds of YouTube and influencers on YouTube and TikTok and all that, like that's the stuff that's really, really harmful, and it's harming our youth of today. But that's all I got to say. Hope y'all have a good night. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
You as well.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Call me.
And I will be dropping Mel. Yes. Final thoughts. I will be dropping Mel Cold Truth link in real quick since she's on live. So I'll be over there just to say hello and check in with the conversation. So final thoughts, Damon or Angry?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. It's just like when it comes to the whole influence thing, I feel like if you as a parent put in the effort to be more of an influence than any of these influencers could possibly be, if you try to set the ground for the foundation early, then these things could just you'll make it to where your kids just view these things as just fun or just content for what it is, something entertaining. You know, I look at it like Alonzo looked at the paper in Training Day. He's like 90% of it's bullshit, but it's entertaining, so I watch it. That's why it is. That's why I look at it. So I feel like if you kind of set the foundation of and give them some critical thinking skills early, help them develop that early, then you don't have to worry about them going up to strangers talking about, you know, F women and F transgenders and stuff like that, because they'll know better, because they were taught something better and they've been exposed to something better. So that's my view on it and what have you. So don't let people who are trying to get money out of you, out of the community, dictate the community standards. That's it.
All right, good stuff.
Like that, yeah.
Peace out, y'all.
All right, catch you later, Dan. Angry Ruby.
All right. Well, Dame went the parent route, which of course I would have took. So he just jumped right in there and took that from me. So I'm gonna go the other route. I'm gonna go the content creator route. And I asked a question, you know, of whether or not you can unintentionally groom people, and I thought that most people agreed that you could. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that everything that you say on these YouTube channels, when you're creating content, whether it's Rumble, I guess social media in general, is seen by a lot of young people, and you should be aware of that. And it does take a village, and we don't have the same setup that we used to have, where we had neighbors, where your kids were riding bikes and going over people's houses like we were when we were kids, and you spent a lot of time with other people's families. Instead, you got a lot of kids sitting in rooms and watching YouTube videos. And when we're on the internet and we're saying the things that we say, we have to be aware of the things that we say. We have to be aware of their impact. We have to be aware that these kids look up to some of these people as role models when they get to certain points. My kid knows who Mr. Beast is and absolutely loves that dude. So I'm glad that that's his person. But if Mr. Beast was spouting some anti-feminine, anti-gay stuff on his channels, then, you know, like that's on him. And he shouldn't be doing that, and we shouldn't be either. So I appreciate the positivity that I get to see when I come on a channel like Angela's, or I come on a channel like Grey Pills. And I think that you guys set the standard for people to be positive and to give people hope in this content creation atmosphere. So I think all of us are accountable for the words that come out of our mouth, because there's people out there that depend on us. So thank you for letting me come on here and say my thing.
I would definitely appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Love you guys. Be safe.
You too.
All right. We'll catch in the Discord. And then there was two. Your thoughts on Ruby?
Now, first off, I want to point out that, you know, Ruby delivers. Okay. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So when I said I was going to do this, I did it immediately, because I have nothing better to do with my time. And I just love the petty of it all. Now, moving forward towards the actual topic, right? Okay, so exactly. Actually, it's like the one thing I really like from her documentaries. Anyway, it's Petty University. I think it's really interesting. Anyway,
part of it.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to just briefly talk about something I didn't address when it was said earlier, but I knew I wanted to do it as closing thoughts. So, I hear a lot of times, I hear parents mention how they're going to ban their kids from watching it or from seeing this person or from whatever. And I don't know why it's like parents forget what it was to be a kid. So they honestly think that their powers are omnipotent or something. And so that they can actually make this happen. And like they forget that when they were kids, their parents constantly banned them from doing things that they did anyway. Banned them from seeing TV shows that they knew everything about and had seen a million times anyway. And that was before cell phones and the internet, right? Like I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons, did not prevent me from watching The Simpsons and from knowing everything about The Simpsons. So, you can't actually ban your kids from anything unless you like raise them in like an Amish style life and existence and then put them in prison so they literally can't leave at all and they don't go to school and they don't socialize with anyone else and they have no electricity at all. It's not going to work. So what's a better solution? Because I think that's the thing. What we need to get to is the better solution. And the better solution, the best solution, are the parents who allow their kids to have access to anything, but who are present, right? So, okay, you're now asking about this content creator or this type of content or this type of information or this type of TV show. I will sit down with you. I'll watch it with you. When you're horrified or shocked or have questions, I'm going to give you the answer. And when you ask me to watch these things or to access these things, I don't slap you down. I'm not going to negate your feelings or your thoughts or your interests. I'm not going to shame you for it. I'm going to say, okay, yeah, sure, we can check that out. Right? Even if me as a parent, I'm not ready for it yet, the kid is. So it's time for you to get ready really fast, because as soon as you start shaming them, as soon as you start trying to ban them from doing stuff, they immediately clam up and never tell you anything again until they're adults who don't live under your roof and you can't control them. So that's not what you want. You want your kids to be exposed to these things for the first times with you, right? For you to help control that narrative and help control the influence and help control the direction it's going to go. And banning is not it. Right? They've never, in fact, if anything, we know that, for example, in unwed pregnant teens, that rate goes way up when the only thing that we educate kids on is abstinence, right? Way up, hugely. Why? Well, because kids are going to do what they're going to do, regardless of whether or not you're ready for that, regardless of whether or not you think that they're ready for that, regardless of whether or not you want them to stay virgins till marriage, right? Like it's the same concept. So what we need are a bunch of responsible adults who are not afraid of the internet. They're not afraid of influencers. They're not afraid of influencers' influence, but they understand inherently that your kids are going to be exposed to billions of messages a day. And you as a parent have influence in the way that you can influence them, right? You let them see it through you. You let them access it through you, right? You show them what the issue is. You show them why it's shameful to behave that way or to speak that way or to think that way or to act that way. Like, because it's who's so closed-minded? Who's so bigoted, right? You give them examples as to how it would feel if it was happening to them, so on and so forth. And then you allow them to make a choice and you tell them that you trust that they're going to make the right one. They're going to make good ones. Right. And you don't shame them by saying, I know that the good choice is you'll never look at that ever again. Like, no, I just know you won't behave that way. I know that you'll make a better choice than to behave that way because you have more respect for yourself and for others. Do you see what I'm saying? So that would be the way that we can control this SNEAKO type of thing, blowing up and then controlling our kids. Right. As long as we want to keep turning a blind eye, the next SNEAKO, because this one's going way fine, the next SNEAKO, the next Fresh and Fit, the next whatever is going to come and control the narrative and be controlling our middle schools and whatever, because parents want to stay blind and want to pretend that they can just ban their kids from watching this and everything will be fine. So that was basically my final thoughts. Thank you very much.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. Again, Mel the Cold Truth is live now. So once we end, please do me a personal favor. If you don't want to stay there, definitely hit her up in the chat. Tell her you said hello, Great Pill Podcast sent you, and enjoy the conversation if you want to stay a little bit longer. I enjoyed the conversation overall. I don't think SNEAKO is a groomer, definitely a hardcore grifter. I think he's lost in his own little sauce. I think that he still has some growing pains. But at the same time, I don't think that he understands. I'm going to be honest. I don't even think he understands the influence that he has on kids. I don't think he understands that. So I definitely wish him luck. I hope he doesn't go in the direction of where Andrew Tate is at now, where he get himself in a situation that he can't get himself out of. Because the situation where he seemed like he's good at is the internet and the media. Let me go do some shenanigans. Let me go do the next clout. Let me go do the next whatever to get himself ahead. Because technically, this is his bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we all don't want nobody, to lose their job. But at the same time, your job is actually influencing people. So you got to be careful what you say and do. I do it all the time. I don't think I'm the smartest tree on the branch. So I pretty much reach out to a lot of people like Edaman just came up in the chat, or Mark is one of our minds, or Inky, and so on and so on. And I generally love to have conversation with people in the back end, and I take it from there. And then once we come on, I do mostly personal invites. They come on, hey, share your perspective. If you want to challenge something, like you see, for example, once a Blue Man Ruby go at it, or Dame and Ruby go at it, Wes and Ruby go just make some shenanigans fun. But you can challenge the argument and be okay with disagreeing with somebody else. It wasn't never been, especially in this platform, never been no, haha, I got you. See, I'm right, you're wrong. Like, no, I'm showing you another side to a conversation. Okay, now let's move on. It's a 2-hour podcast. It ain't gonna be no 3, 4, 5, 8, 10. Do what? The beat over the head to prove. There's not a point to prove. It's a conversation. And that's pretty much what the Grey Pill Podcast is about. But at the same time, why make that comfortable for everybody else to come over here to this space to have an open dialogue, to try to be as transparent as you can based on topic? I personally have my own bias, and I feel like rightfully so. So if I go on and I go solo dolo, I'm having context and receipts on the person I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Right. I personally don't like, and I'm going to use Pearly, for example. I personally don't like her, but I'm not going to sit there, she's fat, she's ugly. I'm not doing all that. No, this is why I think she's a bad person. This is why I think her channel is toxic. This is why, and I'm going to show every perspective of that, and then let y'all take first side. I think people that's not either wise or educated or just sheep or get too delusional, they don't understand or don't know how to separate the two, so they get stuck on stupid. She said, she's the queen, or this person said, he's the king. Okay, cool. When you see those type of people and you see that type of behavior, especially in the chat, understand this is not for you. Or ask yourself a better question: would you invite that person your own? If the answer is no, that's not for you. Point blank, period. And that's the thing people need to think about. I've had this since this channel was like 30 subscribers. I block, I kick, I mute, whatever. I don't care. I will not have that person, that type of negative influence in my home, so I won't have it on my space. I won't have it on my chat. Shout out to the white supremacist supporters of Nick Fuentes out there. Rolled in 38 deep. Hey, you can do whatever you want to. It doesn't faze me. But guess what? Laugh at 8 people in the chat. Laugh at 12. Laugh at 20. I don't care. It doesn't affect me at all. You know what? Shame somebody else because it doesn't work here. So I'll leave with that. So I appreciate everybody for coming up through. Probably in the morning, but definitely I'm going to do the one where I'm going to reach out to everybody. We can just come in and have like some laughs, whatever, or just critique. I know Marcus, you into the whole MMA and boxing thing, and Edaman, you pretty much, you had your experience, whatever. So I'll definitely give out invites for that before as I go on, and then we'll just pretty much critique. We'll critique SNEAKO and his boxing lessons, and then we'll critique Zerker and his little fighting match. I thought it was pretty funny when we talk about it. So I didn't know it was happening. It happened like a couple of times, and apparently he's doing like a second one. So I don't know, but we'll go back and rewatch that. So appreciate everybody for coming on through, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Cheers, y'all.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.